Welcome to the one and only Team 2.
Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Talking Boxing. It is Monday, June the 9th, 2025. And, well, it was an eventful weekend, wasn't it? We started with the Justice Huni fight yesterday morning and then concluded with the Jaya Pattaya fight last night. We had all the drama of Keyshawn Davis's fight over in the States. I think he did more fighting behind behind the stage in the change rooms and in the ring. We had Nakatani, Junto Nakatani with the win over Nishida, and a few other bits and pieces going on. Anyway, I'm sure you'll bring a lot of these things up. But if you haven't watched this before or listened to it on Spotify afterwards, thanks very much for tuning in. And if you're not sure how it works, there is the chat there. Put your comments, questions, opinions, or remarks, whatever you might want to call it, in there. And as the title says there, we'll talk some boxing. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with Sam Nixon. What do you got there, Sam? I hope Keyshawn and his brother both get life bans from the sport. Not a good look. Yeah, it was not a good look, Sam, was it? Yeah, well, look, I don't know who Keyshawn Davis is supposed to be. Is he some sort of gangster from Norfolk, Virginia? I mean, I don't know who he's supposed to be. I mean, is he trying to be a combination of Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner? I got no idea, but I always thought he was this nice, polite sort of young guy who was just doing his bit in the boxing world, but he's actually turned into one of the biggest flogs in the sport. Now, I don't know what he's done or what credentials he's got to be acting like that. I know he's a world champion at the moment, but certainly hasn't got any worthwhile runs on the board. So, apart from that win over Bolchuk, but yeah, I just don't know what's his thing, Sam. I mean, the fact that he's a world champion in his hometown, carrying on trying to fight the guy that had just beaten his brother, it is so classless. And he needs a mentor, I think, Sam. He needs someone to say, hey, this is not right. This is not what it's about, mate. You know, just because you're supposed to be a badass and you're supposed to be gangster and all that sort of stuff, this is not the right way to go about it. But who knows in this day and age, mate? I mean, I'm twice his age. What do I know? Just the whole, standards, I suppose, these days are not what they used to be. These guys, they are let to get away with these sorts of things, and they just keep doing it. And they're all badass and everything else, and they can do what they want, and they're just enabled by the people around them, and no consequences. And if there were some consequences, well, he'd get a lengthy ban. Not so sure a life ban's the way to go, but still, maybe they've got to look at it. It's something they've got to get on top of, because these guys are just, I don't know, it's other sports. I don't follow a lot of other sports except for boxing and AFL here in Australia. So, yeah, I think maybe is that the norm over there at the moment, or is the American sports people? I don't know, but something needs to be done, Sam, and just a classless human being, in my opinion. Rob, good news for Goodman. Do you think he has a chance? Yeah, mate, of course he's got a chance. He's up against Nick Ball, was it August 16th, I think it was? Yeah, of course he has. I think going up in weight, look, end of the day, Nick Ball is not nailed in a way. He's gonna be a handful, don't get me wrong. He's a tough little bugger. He'll be in his face. He fights 3 minutes of every round. But look, Sam's got some very, very good boxing skills. I think it's a winnable fight. I really do. Does he win? I'm not sure. But at least he's got his opportunity. And this is what I've been saying for a while. You know, a lot of people saying Sam was done. He'd blown his chance. Well, it doesn't work like that. You've just got to be in the right spot at the right time. And Sam, he's kept busy. He's kept active. Well, sort of active, I suppose. But he's kept in the mix. He's got his win back. He's got a rating. Nick Ball's obviously looking for someone, and Sam's name's come up and Sam's jumped at it, which all Aussies do. You never hear of an Aussie knocking back a big fight. So, good on him. Look, it's going to be a tough one. I won't lie. I mean, Nick Ball is a tough little fighter, but definitely winnable, Rob, for sure. And as he has a chance, 100% he has a chance. So we'll see how it plays out. Old mate Big J, what do we got there, mate? I think a few of the comments are all over the place, but I'll start with this one. We'll go through them. All right. I'm all for the cultural dances. That's fine, but playing an additional anthem because of heritage is a bit of a stretch for me. Excuse me. Plus, did they even play the Italian anthem for old mate? That's a good question, Big J. I must admit, I didn't really take much notice of the anthems. I was at the pub, so I was sort of running around doing a couple of different things. I didn't even notice it. I did see the cultural dance. I didn't really hear it. I could hear the sort of music going, but I didn't really take much notice. But I did see they were on. I did see them earlier in the year, and they were fantastic, the dancers. As far as playing an additional anthem of heritage, so I'm assuming you're referring to a Samoan anthem. So I had the Aussie, and Samoan anthem. I didn't hear the Italian, but normally it's standard that you play the anthems of both guys. Sometimes if you're in a foreign country like Saudi Arabia, they'll play the Saudi Arabian anthem and the anthems of both fighters, unless you're a Russian. And of course, you got no rights out there anymore just because of what your president's doing. Anyway, it's a different conversation. Can't even announce where you're from. That's against the rules as well. I am with you there, BJ. I mean, if we were going to play anthems based on heritage, we'd be playing 3 or 4 anthems every single fight, wouldn't we? Now, I'm pretty sure Jai was actually born and raised in Australia. And I understand he's very strong on the cultural heritage. But yeah, I'm probably with you with that one, mate. I would think that it's not one thing to come out with the flags and all that sort of stuff. But as far as playing the Samoan anthem, I'm probably with you there, mate. I don't see the need for it. I don't see it. Have the cultural dances, all that sort of stuff, come out with the flags. But I think you should be, and I know he's a very, very proud Samoan fighter is Jai, so I get it. But I would think that everyone's got to have maybe one. It'd be different if he was born in Samoa and came to Australia at a young age, and you can probably see that. I could probably understand. He's the house fighter, so he can do what he wants. But I think just because you've got heritage, I mean, I'm not sure. Did George Kambosos do it? Maybe that he might have come out, or did he play the Greek national anthem, which is pretty laughable in itself as well, because George, of course, was born and raised in Sydney, I think it was. So to play the Greek national anthem, what are we going to have? Everyone playing English anthems and Irish anthems and all this sort of stuff. I don't know, but I am with you there, mate. So, but as far as that other comment there, did they play the national anthem of Italy? I think they did. I think. Just think. That's all I'm not 100% sure. So, all right, we'll come back to a couple of your comments there, mate. We've got a few there from you. Asbot says, the sad part is Huni could have taken the rest of the fight off and still won on the cards. It's a cautionary tale in boxing. Beware the wounded tiger, especially if that tiger has a big KO percentage. Yeah, well, hopefully you've all watched my video on it yesterday, Asbot. He got caught. Look, with all the protests, maybe rumours and comments and all that sort of stuff and everything else, and we're all debating this sort of stuff. Should he have taken the rest of the fight off? Whatever. At the end of the day, he was careless and he got caught. I think we've just got to take that as it is. And Wardley, I said yesterday, I thought he'd given up. I thought after the 9th round, he'd almost, got his head around the fact that he was going to lose the fight. He looked beaten. He looked dejected. He was marked up. His body language was not good. And I thought, that he thought that he was done. He was just going to lose this decision. He had nothing left. And then by the response after the knockout, I've got a feeling he realised that he got out of jail. And normally there's that miracle knockout. There's the everyone jumping around going nuts. Fabio Woodley didn't do that. I think it was just like, thank Christ that happened, because this is my hometown. I don't know what I would have done if I had not won this fight in my hometown at the football stadium and all that sort of stuff. They take the football thing very seriously over there with having the connection to a football club. So I think it was more relief for him. I just think I won't say he looked at the floor and closed his eyes, but he definitely just gritted his teeth and just let one go, and it landed. And if you look at the replay, Justice was very careless. He was predictable with his in and out. He had his left hand down. He shouldn't have been trading. That's for 100% sure. But the advice in between rounds was a bit inconclusive, wasn't it? I remember listening to Mark Wilson in the corner thinking, geez, I don't know whether you need to actually say, hey, Justice, mate, you're 9 minutes away from winning this fight. Be cautious, be smart, do what you've been doing, but be smart. Don't take any chances. Don't slug with him. Do what you've been doing. And I don't think he sort of said that. It was at one stage he actually asked Justice for feedback, and the Justice was like, oh, I don't know whether it's a given thing between Mark. And I know Mark well, by the way, but I don't really take a lot of notice of what gets said in between rounds. But I did yesterday watching that because of course, I put the microphone in the corner and really honed in on it. And I thought, you're asking the fighter for feedback? Like, what are your thoughts? And Justice is like, oh, well, in the middle of a 12-round fight, maybe, as I said, it's the given and they do it all the time. So I'm certainly not saying it's a bad thing, but it just seemed a bit odd to me that you would ask the fighter for feedback. Normally the fighter just sits there and shuts up and has a drink and collects his thoughts and tries to get composed, and the trainer does all the talking, but not in that case. They have a little mini round table. But yeah, I remember thinking, I'm not quite sure you're getting the message across to Justice that, Justice, you realise how close you are to winning this fight. You're doing great, but just be smart. Now, I know you've got to be careful you don't get him to take the foot off the pedal and go into his shell and allow Wardley to come forward and everything else and get reactive instead of proactive. I get that. But I just would have thought there might have been a little bit more of Justice. Don't take any risks. Do what you're doing. Counter him, work to the head, work to the body, do everything you're doing, but just don't take any unnecessary chances. You've got this fight in the bag if you do the right thing. Maybe it was a little bit early. Maybe it might have been after the 10th round or something. You might have been thinking of saying something like that, or even the 11th round. But it just seemed odd to me. And maybe that's the reason why Justice Huni was so accepting of the loss, that I think he knew he stuffed up. I think he knew that he'd blown it. Now, has he blown his big chance at doing something heavyweight division? I don't think he's blown it, but geez, it's certainly an opportunity missed, isn't it? It's a massive opportunity missed that he had one of the biggest or the best up-and-comers in the sport, in the division, absolutely on toast, and blew it. I just couldn't help myself. I was like, are you kidding me when it happened? So much so that I woke the wife up beside me. But, I mean, I just couldn't get my head around it, that he would be that careless. But, end of the day, he'll learn from it, and let's hope he comes back a better fighter. All right, Big J. Jai did the job, but hardly looked impressive. But my real question to everyone is, why the Samoan anthem? Okay, so we've just addressed that. Jai ain't Samoan. He's Aussie born and bred. You don't see Tim and Nikita playing the Russian one. That's not a bad point, Big J. You don't really see Tim and Nikita really embrace the Russian sort of connection, do you? I mean, they are second-generation Russians. Their parents, obviously, Kostya and Natasha, are both Russian and came out here when Kostya started his pro career. It was at the start of, was it 92 when they came out here? Or did they stay out here after the Sydney World Championships? I can't remember. But, yeah, you're right. You don't see him do that. They probably have every right to do that, I suppose, if everyone else is doing it. But, yeah, as I said before, mate, I'm with you as far as the Samoan anthem. As far as looking impressive, look, I just think, like everyone of you guys and girls out there, as soon as the bell rang, I just went, oh, my God, this is just such a mismatch. He is so out of his depth. And you could see that Jai, right from the word go, was like, is this it? This is what I'm in with. This guy who shouldn't be anywhere near a ring with Jai, let alone with a world championship at stake. Now, again, I'm not pointing the finger and blaming, especially not Jai, of course. He's the fighter. He just does what he's told. I'm certainly not pointing the finger fairly at Tasman fighters here either. I'm sure they'll get a lot of flack over it. The undercard, yep, okay, that falls with I'm going to say no limit. They cop enough, don't they? With Tasman fighters, and that's fair enough. But from what I've sort of heard is that this guy, Sequoia, was the only guy in the top 15 who was willing and able to come to Australia for this date. So I got no dramas. I just take the fight, keep him busy. It's either that or he sits out of the ring for another 6 months, what we don't want. So I'm not really fussed about that, but I must admit, as soon as the bell rang and the size difference between both the guys and the ability level, I was like, oh, I don't think I can watch this. I thought it was going to end in the first round. I mean, I don't know where they found Sequoia, the IBF, and found the need to rate him in the top 15. What is he, number? They haven't updated the ratings yet. He was ranked number 14. So to think that there's, a lot of fighters they've put him in front of. I don't want to disrespect the guy. I don't like to disrespect any fighter. I'm not disrespecting him as far as, hey, he came out, he had a crack. It's not his fault. He shouldn't have been in there. The IBF have got a lot to answer for in this case for allowing it and sanctioning this fight. But Jai's whole body language was like, oh, geez. It's almost, this is why he got caught a few times as well, by the way, because it was just almost like he was having a sparring session with a beginner. That's what it was like. And that's why he got caught, because his total focus was off. And I think if he really wanted to, I reckon he could have got him out of there in 1 or 2 rounds. I think he sort of carried him through. So, but that's what he's got to do. So, all right, we've got a super chat. Who we got there? Andy, thanks very much, mate. $10. Really appreciate that, mate. Hello, boxing fans. Congratulations to all the winners over the weekend. Count was a bit bloody quick considering how Huni was dominating. Shake my head. Unified Jai smashed the like. Yeah. Well, we haven't really mentioned the long count. The short count, not the long count. Look, I did say in the review yesterday, because it was straight after the fight, that I thought they might have crossed to Wardley and they missed Justice getting up and everything else. But I think what happened was they crossed to the camera that was behind Wardley, so that he was sort of in the road of the camera to look at Justice. They obviously had the wrong angle, and you couldn't really. This is the ones I've seen anyway. Maybe there's been some other angles come up on YouTube, but it looked to me that he went down and looked like to me he was dirty on himself. When he went on his back, he was like, "Oh, geez, I've been caught, you idiot! Come on, get up and let's get back on with it." But it was like, okay, Jai, sorry, I keep calling him Jai. Justice, where are you, mate? I'm trying to look around the camera, and he got up and he just waved it straight off. Now, from what I've seen and heard and everything else, it looked like it was maybe 9 seconds. Some are saying 8, but around the 9-second mark. The thing is, no matter whether it was fast or long, whatever, if he got up before the 10 count, this is where I think we need to hear from the referee. If in his mind he got up before the 10 count, then surely in a fight of that magnitude, it should have been Justice, walk to me. Give him something. Look in his eyes. Do something. But he got up at 9 or whatever it was, and he just waved it off without a second's thought. Now, maybe he saw something that we didn't see, which is why it'd be great to hear from referees after the fight. And they lock him away and throw away the key until they roll him out for the next show, which I don't like. There should be some sort of media that they should have to face to answer some questions or whatever, or even get interviewed by the promoter, so it's all in-house, whatever. But in that instance, maybe he would have had the opportunity to say, well, I looked in his eyes and they were glassy and he looked gone. No drama. But the fact he got up at 9 and he's just waved it off without any consultation or any deliberation, nothing, just, look, that was a good shot, better call it off. He's up before 10, but that doesn't matter. So, I know there's lots of conspiracy theories with being in England, the English crowd. He was an English referee, English officials. I get that. I just think it was a referee who just dropped the ball. I just think he thought maybe Justice was more hurt than what he was. But the fact that Justice didn't offer any resistance at all goes to show maybe did he make the right call. I would think that if Justice was right to go, that he would have, jumped up and down a little bit more than what he did. He was very accepting, which really surprised me. But anyway, I'm sure it'll all come out. No doubt Mick Francis is on it now after last night's done and dusted. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some heated conversations going on between Eddie and the IBF and everyone out there. Sorry, not the IBF, the WBA, about what's next and whether there should be a rematch. Now, if I'm Frank Warren, there is no way in hell I'm going back at Justice Huni. I'd give up that WBA belt than be forced into a rematch with Justice Huni. Talk about risking everything for not much reward. I mean, all he's doing, if he gives Justice the rematch, all he's doing is pretty much doing the right thing by us fans, and mainly us Australian fans, to give Justice another shot. But if you look at through the eyes through Team Wardley, they'd be going, well, that's it. We never want to see this guy in the ring again. Let's just look in the rearview mirror with this guy. We were lucky to get out of it. Now let's move on, because he's going to be in a very, very good position I think they might have even updated the rankings. I've seen today that he's heavyweight. Yeah, he is the regular champion. So they've actually updated it today. And the number one challenger is vacant. Justice has dropped down to number 7. But I would be thinking that they would be thinking that we got past this one. Thank God for that. Let's just now aim for the biggest fish we can and forget about this guy. Let him work his way back up. Because I just think they got the shock of their lives when they saw Justice Honey across the ring. I got no doubt when he walked out with his body language, his expressions, everything about him. He thought he was just going to walk through Justice Honey. And he got his ass handed to him for 9.5 rounds. So I know 9.5 rounds isn't 12. I get that. You got to do it for the whole 12 rounds. But I would think that they would not want a shot, or have to give Justice Honey another shot unless circumstances enabled it, or the perfect storm where it just happens and it's the biggest fight, whatever. Unless they absolutely have to and it makes the most sense for them, I doubt they'll ever fight Justice Honey again. So we will see. All right. Okay, I've just had that one. Asbot, does Jai get hit too much coming in? He did last night, Asbot, but as I said, mate, I think it was purely in that he just had absolutely zero respect for Sequoia and just wore a few coming in. It's not an uncommon thing, Asbot. It happens a lot where you've got a fighter who's so many levels above another particular fighter they're in with, whether it be in the ring, sparring, whatever it might be, or for real, or sparring, but it happens. And I just think Jai got a little bit careless. And I mean, I think if the Jai that fought Nyika was in there last night with the mindset that he had against Nyika, that would have been a 1-round blowout. Jai would have stepped back, made him miss with his short little arms, and then just absolutely battered him. But let him go through to the 5th round. I really like the sportsmanship of Jai as well. I mean, he said he heard that right hook when it landed. He heard a crack. You'd see he sort of stepped in and then stopped. He could have actually given him another one, I reckon, before the referee got there, but he stood back and he knew he was done. And he obviously knows better than anyone what it's like to have a broken jaw, and good sportsmanship from Jai. But yeah, I think the quicker we forget about Claudio Squayo, the better. And look, credit to him. He came halfway around the world. He got in there with a killer in Jai. So again, I'm not disrespecting him as a fighter. Excuse me. I just don't know how the hell he was in the ring with someone like Jai Pataya. I just cannot get my head around it. All right, Big J. Looks like you're on a bit of a mission tonight. What else you got there? Hate to say so. I told you so about Honey. Okay, but yeah, I told you so. Never thought he would be a world-class fighter. Jesus, Big J. His chin is too weak and he doesn't have the power to put people away, but a good effort. Now, Big J, come on, mate. I know it's sort of what you're saying. I know you said he wouldn't be a world-class fighter. Well, mate, I think he proved yesterday he's more than a world-class fighter. He can be one of the best fighters in the division. Now, yes, that means nothing if you can't take a punch. But Fabio Wardley had, 17 knockouts in 18 wins? The guy can punch. So I've got a feeling he's going to do that to plenty of other guys. His chin is too weak. Debatable. Arguable. Because end of the day, that shot that he got hit with probably would have knocked most other heavyweights out as well. So I don't think we can sort of say that. And it doesn't have the power. Again, I stand by my comments in the past. You don't need power to be a successful fighter. Obviously, it helps. But some of the best fighters in history haven't been big punchers. At heavyweight, Muhammad Ali wasn't a big puncher. Put you away with an accumulation of punches. So I don't read, like Usyk, and Spinks. I don't read into that whole power thing. It didn't matter yesterday. If he hadn't walked into that shot, he would have won 10 or 11 rounds to 1 or 2, whatever it might have been. Would have been an absolute shutout for Justice. So I don't read into that. I think the fact that yesterday proved you don't need a lot of power. And I think, don't get me wrong, I think Justice actually threw some really good shots and hurt Wardley a few times. When he really started to get his confidence up and really start to plant the feet and let them go, I thought he landed some good shots and really got Wardley's attention. Is he a one-punch knockout guy? No, he's not. But who is? Tyson Fury's not a big puncher. Usyk's not a big puncher, as I said. There's a lot of them that aren't big punchers. You don't have to be a big puncher to be successful. Skill, as they say, pays the bills, all right? But as far as not saying he wouldn't be a world-class fighter, Big Joe, I think you're being a bit harsh on him. I think he proved yesterday he is a world-class fighter. So I think you just need to just go back a gear, I reckon, Big J on that one. All right, Garden Snake mentality. What do you got there, Garden Snake? Justice Honey is better than Wardley, as Luis Ortiz was better than Wilder. It's a shame both lost in that late fashion as they did. I was for sure thinking the Australian upset has struck again. I did too, Garden Snake. I thought it was all over. I do remember thinking, geez, he's got to, probably around the 7th or 8th round, I was thinking, when he really started to trade, I was thinking, or when he started to trade with Wardley and open up a bit, I remember thinking, be careful, Justice, be careful. But when he didn't really get a lot back and actually had Wardley, I thought in a little bit of trouble, not big trouble, a little bit of trouble, we'll call it, where he had his attention and he was certainly feeling the effects of it. I thought then, okay, Justice has now realises this guy's got nothing. And I was quite happy for him to start opening up a little bit. And I thought after the 9th round especially, I thought Justice could stop him. I thought Justice could stop him in the 10th or 11th round. I thought that's how far gone I thought Wardley was. But that's why it's a 12-round fight, isn't it, Garden Snake? And he walked straight into one. But look, I don't think it's a detriment to Justice Honey at all. I think he'll learn from it. And like you said there, Ortiz against Wilder, yep, he got caught and he was winning that fight. It's not the first time, won't be the last time it's happened, especially at heavyweight. All right, Big J. What else you got there? Big question now is what does Hearn do with Honey, if anything? No real domestic level fights worth anything except maybe McKean or Tamura. Eddie possibly dumps him like he did Paro. Jesus, Big J, have you had your Snickers bar today? You're kidding, aren't you? You are kidding. I would have thought that after that performance yesterday, Eddie Hearn would be on the phone trying to make some more big fights for Justice Honey. He proved yesterday he's around the mark. You really think Eddie Hearn would dump Justice Honey after that fight yesterday? I understand he dropped Dempsey McKean because he was just not at world level. That was obvious. I get that. Liam Paro might have been a mutual agreement to part ways. Liam might have said, look, this is not the sort of route I want to go down. And Eddie's probably said, well, you either go my route or no route at all, which is why he's come back to No Limit, where he can have a bit more say in how his career's sort of directed. Where Eddie Hearn, I would think, would be like, you fight this guy, you don't fight at all. So I get that. But I would have thought that, I reckon after 9 rounds, Eddie Hearn would have been absolutely rubbing his hands together thinking, I've got a live chance here of getting that world title back, the heavyweight title. And then it's just one punch. So I don't think, as far as domestic level, why the hell would he come back to domestic level, Big J? He's now on the world level. I mean, look at the heavyweight rankings. Let's have a quick look at some. Derek Chisora. I think Justice Honey beats Derek Chisora. At Jagby, this is the IBF. I think he beats a Jagba. I think he beats Frank Sanchez. They're the top 3 contenders. At the WBA, I think he beats Hunter. Otama is even in the mix. I know we're all fascinated by Moses Otama, but who's he fought? He's fought nobody. I think we'll get a better indication where he's at when he fights Dillian White next. Big Baby Miller, I think Justice beats him as well. In the WBC, Lawrence Okoli, Ajagba, Bacoli. So I've got Okoli and Bacoli. Hergovich, I think Justice beats them all, Big J. Why the hell would he be coming back to domestic level? In the WBO, yeah, you've got Hergovich, Zhang, Okoli, Big Baby Anderson as the top ranked behind Moses Tom. I think he beats all them as well. Jeez, Big J, I think you've got to give Justice Honey a bit more credit than that, mate. It's not like he went over there and got embarrassed or disgraced or whatever. I mean, he absolutely schooled one of the biggest sort of best up and comers in the heavyweight division. And you're saying he's got to go back to domestic level and Eddie Hearn's going to drop him? Big J, come on, mate. I don't normally check you that often, but go check yourself, Big J. Oh, geez. All right. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, so peace. You got your own show. You can go for it on your own channel. All right, Garden Snake. What else you got there, mate? It's a terrible look for Bob Aaron, who is done with ESPN in August, I believe. And 2 of his biggest names, Keyshawn and Tio, are unhinged. Not good when you need to find another platform to promote your product. I get where you're coming with Keyshawn Davis there, Garden Snake. If I was Top Rank, I'd be cutting him loose. I'd be saying, mate, you've done your dash. You're gone. I'd get rid of him. Plenty of very, very good up-and-coming fighters out there, Garden Snake. I'd be cutting him loose. T.O.'s a little bit different. He's not with Top Rank anyway, is he? He's not with them anymore. But T.O.'s a little bit unhinged. I just think he lives in this world of, when he's delirious most of the time, of where he's at and how he sees the boxing world. You don't see him getting in brawls out the back with other fighters, though, do you? That's probably one good thing. When you say unhinged, he's probably just more delirious more than anything, Garden Snake. But he's a loose cannon, his T.O., but at least he doesn't get into punch-ups and drug scandals and all that sort of stuff. So I think there's still a place for T.O. with somebody, whether it be Golden Boy or maybe back to Top Rank, who knows. But Keyshawn Davis, he's bad news. You don't need those types of people in your organisation. Cut him loose and let him go. Let him go to Golden Boy or somewhere like that. Get rid of him. All right, Garden Snake, another one there. You got a couple of comments here. What do you honestly think of Junto's chances moving up to fight Inoue? I get it's a Japan super fight, and maybe I'm being too critical of Junto, but I think he gets destroyed. Well, it's an interesting comment, Garden Snake. I think he would be one of only two people on the planet that has any chance whatsoever against Inoue, and that's obviously the other one is Rodriguez, even though he's a lot sort of lighter is Rodriguez at the moment. Yeah, look, I'm with you there as far as thinking that Inoue wins the fight between them, Garden Snake. But as far as him getting destroyed, no, I don't think so. I'm thinking 8 or 9 rounds. He might be able to stop Junto Nakatani. Depends on what Junto Nakatani tries to do. If he tries to be a little bit more bravado in front of the Japanese crowd over there, he might walk into one. But if he boxes really smart and does what he does best at long range, those long range punches, I think he's a chance to frustrate Inoue. I don't know. It's one of those fights, Garden Snake, where I could see Inoue doing what you said there and maybe destroying Junto Nakatani. But I could also quite easily see Junto Nakatani staying at distance and long range and boxing Inoue to a decision win. And I know it's unheard of to even think of someone being in a position to beat Inoue, but I think Junto Nakatani could do it if he fights the right fight. If he gets a little bit brave, as I said, and starts to trade with Inoue, it'll be all over. I think the one fighter that I reckon could get into a bit of a slugfest with Rodriguez and have success, is with Inoue, is Rodriguez to have some success. To get in and actually get down and dirty with Inoue, I reckon Rodriguez could go with him. He's the only one that I reckon could stand there and trade with Inoue and actually give as good as he gets. But again, he's a couple of divisions below, so does that come into it? I don't know, but who knows, Garden Snake? But, mate, the thing is, I just want to see for myself, like you probably do. I want to see them in there, and then they can show us who's the best and who's not. All right, we've got Garden Snake, you've got a few comments there. We'll get through them there, mate. What do we got? This is the advantages of getting in early, guys, and putting them all on the chat before we get started. All right, Garden Snake. Keyshawn laughed at the weigh-ins when he missed weight. Yeah, I did see that. He laughed at the event, stuffing his face with food in front of the camera. Then the jump, after his match beating Keyshawn's bro was disturbing. Yeah, as I said, mate, I don't condone it at all, and he should face some sort of lengthy ban or fine or both, and Top Rank should tear his contract up. Just bad news. He's a bad apple, and he's got to have some accountability. Like everyone in life, you've got to have some sort of accountability. And I think if Top Rank ripped his contract up, then maybe he's got to sit back and go, well, maybe I'm not as gangster as I think I am, and maybe I've got to use that thing in your head called a brain and have some respect out there. Because like a lot of these young, I hate to sort of stereotype them, the American young fighters, they all seem to have this mentality about them that they're all gangster and they can pretty much have a license to do what they want and have no repercussions. He needs repercussions. Now, he probably thought he was untouchable. Rip up the contract, fine him, ban him, whatever it might be. Charge him if you have to. Get the cops involved. But he needs a wake-up call, Keyshawn Davis, because he's an embarrassment to the sport at the moment. All right, lifetime ban is too much, but I'm 100% on board with a year's suspension and a fine. Yeah, I reckon that's about right, Garden Snake. Something has to be done to send a message to fighters or anybody. This type of behaviour will not be tolerated. 100% agree there, mate. The way Hooney handled it all after for a 26-year-old young man was impressive. Yeah, it was impressive, but I don't know. Look, I know it's not his way. He's such a lovely young guy, or not so young, he's 26, but he's a lovely guy. He's Justice Hooney. He has so much respect, in life. It's not in his sort of manner, I suppose, to act up. But I would have liked a little bit of attitude after him to say, look, I'm pretty pissed. I got up. I was up at 9. He waved it off. It was just for a WBA interim title, a lot at stake. I would have liked to see something instead of accepting it as easily as he did. But at the end of the day, that's him. That's his personality. And I'm certainly not going to begrudge him for acting in his natural way, because I would have handled a hell of a lot different. All right, dry turkey. Nick Ball fought Fulton and now is fighting Goodman. It seems like if he wins and Inoue beats MJ, that's the next fight, not Junto. Yeah, well, I said the other day on one of the Walking Boxing episodes that I thought that the Inoue Goodman fight could still be on for the end of the year, because there was talk that the team around Inoue was a bit worried that going up to featherweight and then coming back down to maybe fight Junto. Although Junto Nakatani had even discussed about going up to 126 to fight him. They're a bit worried about going up and down in weight, so they thought they might fight Goodman first, then Nakatani, and then go up to featherweight and fight Nick Ball. But it's all been thrown up in the air now that Nick Ball was fighting Goodman. So that would probably would be the right course of action, you'd think, there, dry turkey. So you would think that, in a way, obviously he's got MJ next. I'm thinking he'll fight. Could it be Nakatani at the end of the year? I was just going to say the winner of Nick Ball and Goodman, but they're not fighting. Well, they are fighting in August, so maybe it could be the end of the year. That could be on the cards. Maybe what Inoue wants to do is fight MJ. Although, when's that? That's September, isn't it? So that's, yeah. Look, who knows? I was just going to say maybe Inoue is looking to fight the winner of Goodman and Nick Ball after MJ and then fight Junto Nakatani after that. But who knows? Who knows? As long as they fight each other, I don't care, dry turkey. All right, Tony. Sure do wish Justice had a bit of mongrel in him like Jai has. He's too much of a nice guy, in my opinion. Such a shame he made one mistake that cost him the fight. Yeah, but look, everyone's different, aren't they, Tony? Everyone reacts a little bit different to things that happen to him in life. I reckon Jai would have been, maybe I think his reaction might have been a bit different to that of Justice's, but that's just who Justice is, so... Nectar of the Gods. Keyshawn is a good talent in boxing, but has about as much brains as a fly. He's done a lot of damage to his reputation in the last 3 days. Yep, 100% Nectar. And as I said before, ban, fine, contract gone, maybe charges. That's what he needs for him to wake up to himself. Dry Turkey says, Pacquiao went into the International Hall of Fame yesterday. How cool would it be a month later he is world champion? Yeah, would have loved to have been there for that. He broke his training camp to go to Canastota. It would have been a bit of a trip for him as well, because I think he's training in LA, so he would have had to fly to New York, or probably Buffalo, actually. He would have flown up to Buffalo and then drove across to Canastota, which I think is about a 3.5-hour drive from Buffalo. Then he would have to obviously go back to Buffalo, and then from Buffalo to LA, which is probably about a 6.5-hour flight as well. So it's a big weekend for the Pac-Man, but I'm sure they would have factored that into his training. I mean, we're still, about 7 weeks away, I think? What is it? What is it now? It's about 5 weeks away, isn't it? So 5 or 6 weeks, whatever it might be. So I reckon they would have factored that into his training. I reckon they would have built him right up to when he went, so that he could have 3 or 4 days off and not be hindered too much. I'm sure in Canastota he would have been out jogging or maybe doing some pad work or something like that. Or maybe not, because Freddie Roach would have been there, I wouldn't have thought. Or was he? I don't remember seeing him there. But either way, I'm sure he would have factored that into his training and he'll be fine. All right, Tommy B. How are you, Tommy? Haven't been in the chat in a while. Usually out for dinner Monday nights. Claudio Squayo, brave man, jumping in with Jai. Result to be expected, but still jumping in for a crack. Respect, mate. Yep. Yeah, no, I'm with you there, mate. Way out of his depth, but had the balls to get in there and have a crack at Jai Pattaya, which is something that not a lot of fighters are willing to do. All right, we've got a super chat from D-Style. How are you there, mate? $2. Thanks very much, mate. And I did see, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, that you interviewed Shannon O'Connell this morning. So I will check that out probably over the next day or so, mate. So that was good. And I'm not sure whether she said on the interview that she will be coming on our tour later in the year for Canelo and Crawford. So if you happen to be there, D-style, and you can get there, then Shannon will be there with young Cooper as well. So again, if you're looking to go on our tour in September, some good company to go over there with. There is Batman. Morning, fellas. It's funny hearing you say that, Batman, considering it's 7:40 at night, but good morning to you two over there. All right, AI. How's Goodman going to keep ball off him at 126 with his 122 pillow fist? I reckon you'll be surprised, AI. Yeah, I reckon you'll be surprised. I reckon, again, power's not everything. It is not everything. Let me just say. I just think Sam's has got very, very good boxing skills. Will he keep him off? I mean, that remains to be seen, I suppose, but because Nick Ball will be on him. But I just think Sam's got very, very good footwork, good hand speed. He's very fit. He can box all night if he has to from a distance. So I think he's a live chance. I don't think it's a problem keeping off him. I think if he gets in close, he'll do what other good boxers do against sluggers. He'll tie him up. He'll turn him. He'll twist him. He'll do whatever it takes. So yeah, I'm not that concerned about the power issue, AI. I think Sam Goodman has got the boxing skills to frustrate Nick Ball, and I think he can get the job done. Batman agrees. He said he won't. Okay, that's cool. Look, do I think Sam Goodman wins the fight? Well, look, at this stage, I would probably say maybe not. But I think he's a good chance to do it. I really do. I'm just not saying I'm not writing him off. I think he's a chance. I was asked if he's a chance, and yes, I think he's a chance. Can he keep him off? Yes, I think he can keep him off. Do I think he actually wins the fight? Well, as I said, at this stage, I still think maybe it favours Nick Ball, but you just don't know. Do we really think that Kambosos was going to beat Lopez? Do we really think Horn was going to beat Pacquiao? I mean, come on. Do we think Paro was going to beat Matias? I reckon the same questions would have been asked about Paro and Matias. How the hell is Liam Paro, who's not a big puncher at all, going to keep an absolute beast like Matias off him for 12 rounds? And Paro boxed the ears off Matias for 12 rounds. Maybe not box the ears off him. It was a tough fight, but you get what I'm saying. So that's my example. Look at what Liam Paro was able to do to a killer like Matias. All right, Nectar of the Gods. All right, looks like I'm in the minority here. Nick Ball will eat Goodman for breakfast. No chance, in my opinion, with his little pity-pat punches. Yeah. Tommy, they played the anthem, just didn't have a live singer doing it. That was the Italian anthem for Sequoia. Batman says, Ball all day in that, but a decent name to build the in-away fight. Yeah, look, I think it's a really good fight for both guys, Batman. I think Nick Ball, Sam Goodman's ranked, where is he? I think he's ranked number 1 by a couple of the organisations. Where are we? I'll go to the rankings now. Where is it? 122 or Super Bantamweight, if you speak that way. All right, so he's ranked number 1 by the IBF and number 1 by the WBO. With the WBC, he's ranked number 4. And as always, the WBA hasn't ranked him. I don't know what the hell they do with their rankings, but he's not ranked. So he's 1, 1, and 4 in the organisations apart from the WBA. So look, I think it's a good scalp for Nick Ball. Probably in his eyes, he's probably looking at going, yep, this could be this type of fight that'll get me the in-away fight, keep me busy. Now, I've got no doubt. I think maybe what they're looking at Sam Goodman for is that he's maybe an easy kill to keep active and busy for the in-away fight. I get that. Bit like Fabio Wardley looked at Honey yesterday, and that might be his undoing. Because looking at it on paper, you would probably think, or looking at it for what it is, you'd have to think that that's what they're looking at Sam Goodman as. I doubt they would see him as a real threat, because why would they take a real threat within a way there in another sort of 12 months' time or 6 months' time, whatever it might be. So I can see they're thinking that way, but yeah, I certainly wouldn't be underestimating Sam Goodman. That's what I'm saying. I think he's a chance. All right, Tommy. I can live with Jai honouring his heritage. He's about to go into battle, and if he wants to honour both his birth country and family heritage country before he goes to battle, that's fine by me. Well, at the end of the day, it was a Tasman Fighters event, so he's the home fighter, the house fighter, so they can do whatever they want. But I would think on a on, say, it's a Riyadh season card, that it would be, no, mate, you get one anthem. You pick which one it is, but it's got to be one anthem. That's what I would think. Now, this is a little bit different because it's almost like, well, it's like a home game at football, isn't it? You know, the home team gets the use of the big screens and all the marketing and all that sort of stuff. In this instance here, Jai is the home team. So he had full access to have the dancers, to have the two anthems playing. He had the right to do whatever he wanted to because it was Jai Pataya's show. But as I said, I think on a normal, neutral type of card, it should just be one anthem. And you pick which one it's going to be. And Nectar of the Gods fully agrees with Big J. All right, Big J, you're on a roll there, mate. You got one backer there. I'm a little bit behind in the comments, so you might have a few more. But, hey, again, Big J and whoever else agrees with him, hey, that's fine. That's your opinion. I just don't agree with it. All right, Ali Uges, how are you there, mate? I'm still shattered since Justice Honey lost. Was absolutely pumped with the way he boxed. Felt like he gave him the distance to punch, which he didn't in the early rounds. He was all over him. Yeah, mate, what else can I say? He fought a great fight. He really did, right up to the point where he got knocked out. So, I mean, you got to laugh about it at this stage, don't you? I know it's not a laughing matter, but I'm sure once it's all settled down and everyone's got over it, they'll be thinking, well, what were we thinking doing that? And I think Mark Wilson would be probably one of the most disappointed people. That's his trainer, would be really disappointed that whatever the fight plan they devised was working perfectly, and it all come undone because Justice just lost his way and got caught. And it can happen. Very, very hard to keep your concentration for 12 3-minute rounds. It really is. So, look, it happens. We can dissect it. We tend to do that here in Australia. We get it out in the magnifying glass and dissect it to the nth degree. End of the day, he was winning the fight easily, got careless and got caught all over. That's boxing. All right, Batman. The last bet on one of my accumulators was Jai, such easy work. My main bet was Junto by stoppage and Junto rounds 1-6. Also had Worldly by stoppage on one of them. That was very lucky. Team Batman, I don't know whether you've already commented. What are your thoughts, being an Englishman over there? What were your thoughts before the fight? How did you think the fight would go between Wardley and Justice? Did you think there was... Over there, did any of the fight fans know who Justice was? Did they give him any chance whatsoever? Give me your thoughts. And now, especially after the fact, what are the thoughts on the fight from an English point of view, not an Aussie point of view? I'll be interested to hear it. All right. It looks like, would you come away with a $453 profit or pound profit? Let us know. All right. Ali says, if he won it, would have been amazing as more big events in Australia. In saying that, I think Huni will find himself on a few cards in Saudi. He's going to have plenty of fights over there, Ali. Don't worry about that. And I know with all the talk about he's a light puncher and all that sort of stuff, he's a very entertaining fighter because he doesn't run, doesn't hold, doesn't clinch, he's a very exciting fighter, is Justice. And that's why I reckon he'll get a lot of fights along the journey, especially now that he'll be on the radar of a few. And I'm sort of hoping that the performance yesterday actually elevates him, in some of the ratings as well. Cal Jane, if Jai cannot get a fight, I want to see him take on the 3 Davis brothers. His look on it was great. Yeah, did he comment? Did he, Cal Jane? I didn't say it, mate. So I'll look at that one. I haven't really been on social media today. So, Mr. Sir, Huni is the real deal. Don't see Jai at that level. So you actually see Justice above Jai. You see Huni is world class, and Jai is obviously world class. He's a world champion, but not at that level. Yeah, well, look, and I will say there has been a few comments about this with Jai. Now, it doesn't matter how conclusively you win your fights and how nice a guy you are and everything you say, and there's always going to be people that don't agree, and that's cool. There has been more people in the last day or so that I've seen have been critical of Jai, just like they turned on Tim Tszyu as well. The thing is, Jai hasn't lost yet, but is he at the level? I think the fight with Marius Breedis proves he's at the level, doesn't it? Now, I know people will say, or some people will say, oh, but Breedis was 40 years old and he was over the hill and all this sort of stuff, and apart from that, he's fought nobody. Yeah, I'm going to back Jai that he's the real deal. I'm going to back him. I think, as I commented to someone today, they said, what does he have to do to really be perceived by everyone of being at the level? I think he has to beat Ramirez. That's probably the obvious one. And then I would think if David Benavides wants to come up to cruiserweight, that's the fight. Now, if David Benavides doesn't come up to cruiserweight and wants to stay at light heavy and take care of all those guys down there, well, then I think Jai should then move to heavyweight. If he beats Ramirez, which I've got no doubt will be coming, I've got no doubt it'll be within the year, maybe even the end of this year, but within the next 12 months, I think they'll definitely fight. I think Jai wins the fight, and then I think the decision will be made, all right, Benavides, are you coming up to fight me? If not, or Better Beav, whoever it might be, you're coming up to fight me. If not, then I'm going to heavyweight. And that's where we'll truly see Jai at his best, in my opinion. All right, Nectar of the Gods. Huni should get more fights from a pretty good showing, just needs to be smarter. Yeah, look, it can happen to anyone, and it has happened to a lot of fighters. He got caught. It just happens, so, and he won't be the last one either. Batman, I'm in Wardy's team. So if I'm in Wardy's team, you give nowhere near, or you go nowhere near Huni again. Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. There's no way I'll be fighting Huni again. Ali, I think once Jai enters the heavyweight division, he unifies the titles. Usyk should be retired by then, and I don't see anyone else being able to stop him. I'm with you there, Ali. Look, I'm with you to a certain extent. I just want to see how Jai looks carrying the amount of weight that he would have to carry. Now, having said that, I think, I'll just get my calculator out here. They said when he got in the ring yesterday, or last night, he was 97 kilos, I think. Now, that is 213 and a half. Let's say 213 pounds. Let's even go up to 214. He might have been a bit over 97. 214 pounds. Now, to put that in perspective, back in the day, that is what a normal heavyweight would weigh, anywhere between sort of 210 and 220, maybe 225, something like that. So he's not far off the mark. So all it would mean is he's not actually boiling himself down to make cruiserweight. He would actually be getting in there. He'd probably have to put on maybe another 5 kilos, I'm probably thinking, which would take him to 102, which is not a lot to ask someone that size to bulk up a little bit extra size and weights and proteins and supplements and all that crap they put into themselves. So that would get him, if you put on 5 kilos, that would get him up to 224. So, and that is a perfect weight, I think. Might be a little bit small compared to some of the boys out there, but I don't think it matters, because what is Usyk? He's about 225 or something, isn't he? Just want to have a quick look at that. Now we've brought that up. Let's put the microphone there. So Alexander Usyk, he weighed 226 against Tyson Fury. So there you go. So that would be around the mark that Jai Pattaya would be. And Usyk actually has to eat up to that weight, by the way. Jai wouldn't have to really eat up. He'd bulk up naturally to put on that 4 or 5 kilos, I reckon. And he'd be big and strong. So my theory is, I know a lot of you might disagree out there, I see Jai Pattaya as being just as talented as what Alexander Usyk is. I really do. So if Alexander Usyk can do it, I think Jai Pattaya can do it. Now, no, Jai Pattaya is nowhere near as proven as Usyk. I'll say that. I'm just talking natural talent. And the rest is up to Jai. But Usyk weighed 226 in the last fight against Fury, 223 in the one before that, 221 against Dubois and Joshua both times, and 217 against Chisora. So, yeah, he's gradually made his way up. So I just think if Jai put on 5 kilos, which again shouldn't be too hard to do at that weight, at his size, I reckon he'll carry the weight very, very well. And I think he's a live chance, Ali, because I don't think any of those guys, those top guys, would be able to go with Jai. But again, I just want to see what he would be like. I mean, Usyk's gone up, Holyfield went up, Spinks went up, and they all carried the weight okay, but it doesn't mean that Jai's automatically going to carry the weight well also. So that's what I just want to see with Jai. Ability, 100%. But as I said, not everyone carries the weight like those other guys did. So, but as far as natural ability goes, mate, all the hope in the world for Jai that he can do it, and all the faith. Mr. Sir says, I just don't see him as a heavyweight. Yeah, well, I think he's going to have no choice, Mr. Sir. I think it's, well, if he gets past Ramirez and Benavides or Better Beav or Bivol or whoever else it is doesn't want to come up, what else has he got to do? He'll just sort of wither on the vine at cruiserweight, because there's literally no one for him to fight. Now, I know someone might say Badu Jack or what. No, he doesn't need Badu Jack. The only reason he might need the reason to fight Badu Jack is if of course, if he's got the other 3 belts and he wants to unify and Badu Jack's there, no problem. Or whoever else. Who's he fighting next? The guy he beat last time. Who are they're rematching soon? Who was it? McCallium. Yep. So look, if whoever wins that fight wants to fight Jai for all the belts, then that's a different story. But apart from that, I don't see any big fights there for Jai. So why not just move up and make the big dollars? Mr. Sir, hang on. Ali says they are all smaller these days. The same was also being said about Usyk, and he went through the whole division. Yep, I agree. I need to see Jai more competitive fights. The Italian was a midget punching bag. Yeah, I can't argue with that, Mr. Sir. I can't. I must admit, I was bordering on horrified when I saw them go to the face-off in the middle of the ring. I went, oh no, I hope this guy can fight, because this is not going to be good. And then when the bell rang, I was like, oh, that was even worse. I was like, oh, this is going to get really ugly. And I think it was only Jai who didn't get out of first gear for the first 4 rounds. That's the only reason he hung around in there. He was so far overmatched, it was ridiculous. All right, explicit. Mason and Noakes on the August Otama card, possibly, and if it happens, who you got winning? Mason for me, mate. He's a good fighter. Very, very good fighter, Abdullah Mason. I think he'll take what we all thought that Keyshawn Davis was going to be at lightweight. I think Abdullah Mason will be it. But now, of course, Davis will move up to 140. Who's that? So who are the guys at lightweight then? I bet, to answer your question there, mate, I think Mason wins that fight. Though if it's in England, could make it interesting. All right, so at lightweight, so, geez, they don't muck around. As of today, it's vacant. All right, so, yeah, Sam Noakes, Abdullah Mason, 1 and 2. Yep. Trying to look who else is there. Yeah. I don't really know much about Sam Noakes. I've only seen him fight, I reckon, once, And who was that against? One of his most recent fights. But for me, mate, Abdullah Mason, I think he wins. I think he wins. The only reason I think it might be semi-close if it gets put on in England. That's the only way I see Noakes with a chance. But yeah, Mason's something special, mate. Still very, very raw. What's his record? I won't bother going to it. I know he's actually I will now. I've said that. But hasn't really had anyone of note on his record, has he? What is he? Oh, he's had 19 fights, and 19-0 with 7 knockouts. But I mean, yeah, there's no really anyone on that resume who's really anyone of note. I don't think so. It's still relatively unproven. Although Sam Noakes, let's have a quick look at his record. I'll have a look at him as well. So he's 17-0, but I've got a feeling his record's even weaker than what Mason's is. Yeah. Not many. Some okay records on there, but not many fighters I've heard of. So, yeah. Mason for me there, mate. Next to the gods. Hope you're right, but I'm not sure about him in heavyweight. Yeah, well, again, we'll see. Once he goes up, we will see. I'm sure when Usyk went up, there might have been similar things. I do remember a lot of people saying, how the hell is Usyk going to be able to go up and fight the likes of Joshua and Fury? I remember it. And I remember back in the day, I mean, it was bad enough. Like when Spiggs came up, he was fighting guys like Holmes. It was only 220, 225, something like that, I think. So, and you had Usyk coming up fighting guys that are in the 260s. So I just think if he can do it, then Jai can do it. But we will see. Drew, I never felt comfortable even in the later rounds due to Wardley's undeniable power. That said, without sounding salty, I think Wardley's low ceiling has been exposed to upper tier heavyweights. I'm with you there, Drew. I think, and look, again, full credit to Fabio Wardley. He was great. You know, he did what you had to do. It doesn't really matter how you get the win as long as you get the win, and he did it. So congratulations to him. But I think just as Huni exposed Fabio Wardley for being a pretty, I won't say average, but limited fighter. Very limited fighter. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's only had, the 19 fights wherever he's now, and the 4 blue or white-collar fights he'd had before that. So he's very inexperienced. So I think that showed yesterday, just as with his really extensive amateur background, and even with his pro fights, just showed that, he'd been boxing since a very early age, Justice. I just think he showed that yesterday, because that's what it looked like to me. A guy who's been around a boxing ring all his life against a guy who hasn't. That's what stood out to me. And yes, he got the win, and good on him. But I think you're right. I think it exposes Wardley's low ceiling, against those other heavyweights. But I must admit, Drew, even though I thought he's got the power, I thought that Justice had gone past that point of Wardley being dangerous. I really did. I thought, we almost had the same happen with Deontay Wilder and Fury, though, didn't we? Fury was good enough to get up and go on, and we drew the first fight and then won the next two. But I thought that after probably about the 7th round, I thought Justice had got past the danger point of being susceptible to what actually happened. I thought Wardley started to tire. I thought he looked dejected. I thought he was really down on himself. I think the body language between him and his corner was really flat as well. And I thought Justice had broken him. I really did. Up to the 7th round, I thought that, still same thing as you, Drew. I thought, this guy's dangerous. Don't back off. Don't get careless. But then after, especially the 9th round, I thought Justice is going to stop this guy. He's totally broken him. Wardley has just not thrown the towel in, not just using the term, but not literally, but it's sort of pretty much mentally just thrown in the towel and had accepted his fate. And then all of a sudden, bites down on the mouth guard and lets one go. And here we are talking about the next day is him getting a possible world title shot soon. So it's amazing how it can turn. Ali. Unfortunately, the last couple of fights, the opposition has backed out. His world title win was the most difficult so far. Bigger fight would also motivate Jai further. Okay, yeah. So, his last couple of fights were pullouts, Ali, weren't they? And Nayika as well was the pullout. He stepped in after, who was that? Who was it that pulled out that time? I can't remember. I know it was, this time was, unless I've got it mixed up, it was Shinkara. Was it this one or the one before that where he pulled out? I can't remember. But either way, you're right. His last 2 fights have been late replacements. So, I mean, this wasn't so late. What was it? 5, 6 weeks, whatever it was. So, you got the job done, and that's all he can do. All right, Tommy B. I don't think it's a surprise that no one in the top 15 wants to fight Jai. Not much they can do, I reckon, especially since Jai doesn't have a massive profile, which, again, not his fault. But he has got a world title belt, though, Tommy. This is the thing. And, again, it's not like everyone was scared to fight Jai. It's just that on the time frame and coming to Australia, all that sort of stuff, he was just the only one in the top 15 that was willing to come. I don't know why the others, maybe they weren't considered. I don't know. Look, maybe No Limit. Sorry, apologies to Tasman fighters. I don't mean to call you No Limit consistently, but maybe Tasman fighters looked at the list and just looked at someone that was going to be beatable that could keep Jai busy. I don't know, but from what I heard, he was just the only one available. So who knows? Only Tasman fighters know that, Tommy, but it's not Jai's fault. He just wants to keep fighting. But maybe at some point he's got to say, look, enough of this rooting around. Get me one of these top guys. Batman says, also hearing he was inspired by Cinderella Man. Was like, really, this is crazy. Yeah, well, I did see that as well, Batman. On the telecast, they mentioned that. There was no Cinderella story about that yesterday, was there? It was just one-sided, and could have been worse, though. It could have been worse. If Jai had really been on the seek and destroy mission, I think it would have been a pretty ugly night for Claudio. Ali, I'm just hoping Jai does a better job than Daniel Dubois when he enters the ring and challenges for the unification. Still can't forget how terrible Dubois sold the challenge. What fight are you talking about there, Ali? What are you saying there? I'm hoping when he enters the ring and challenges for unification, still can't forget how terrible Dubois sold the challenge. I'm not quite sure what that comment is there, mate, unless you've gone on with it further down the track. I'll come back to that. Tony, as soon as I saw Squayo and Jai in the ring, it reminded me of when Rocky was trying to catch the chicken in the Rocky movie. You know what it actually reminded me of a little bit, if you're talking about Rocky movies, Tony? It was when Rocky squares up against Thunderlips in Rocky 3, when he's looking at his chest and he's got to look up at him. I couldn't believe how small he looked. He looked absolutely tiny. He looked like a blown up, like super middleweight. He was small. What did he weigh? He got in the ring at 86 or 88, was it? So still was it 88 or 86? He's still at least 2 kilos or 4 or 5 pounds if he's under the cruiserweight limit the day after the weigh-in, after he'd eaten up. Just amazing. So if anything, he should go down to light heavyweight. Don't worry about playing with the big boys. Go back to 175. He's almost at that weight anyway at the weigh-in, so why not? Could probably make super middle. At the time, I didn't feel the count was quick, but looking back, it was. It was definitely quick, Batman. It was definitely quick. But again, even if it was quick, maybe the referee saw something in Justice's eyes where he said, "Nah, mate, you can't continue," and waved it off. This is, again, why we need to hear from the referee. None of this putting them in cotton wool and not being able to talk to them. Just come out and explain yourself. I don't see the harm in it. Just say, yep, look, I'll answer, or even a statement, whatever. Say, look, I looked in Justice Honey's eyes. He looked concussed, or he looked gone, he looked dazed, whatever it might be, and I decided to stop the fight. And that's the end of the story. Then we're not debating about it. We're not talking about quick counts and favoritism, all that sort of stuff. You can just simply say, hey, looked in his eyes. I didn't think he was all there, so I stopped the fight. Can't really argue with that, can we? So that's what he's there to do. AI. I'm a bit confused about all the Zerdo chat. If the rumours are true, he's going for the Jake Paul payday. They should turn their attention to the WBC. Rematch was ordered recently and fight the winner. Yeah, that's another course of action, AI. Yeah, and look, I wouldn't blame Zerdo either. I know it's a circus event fighting Jake Paul, but geez, he's probably going to get, 4 or 5 times the money that he would just for fighting Jai for the belt. So I don't begrudge him at all, if that's the case, if he has been offered that fight. Benavidez is another one that's talked about fighting Zerdo Ramirez as well. Look, another great or acceptable, I suppose, scenario would be if Zerdo does take the Jake Paul payday, and Beterbiev and Bivol are fighting each other and don't really have any interest in fighting Benavidez. Maybe Benavidez might say, all right, in the meantime, I'm going to go up to cruiserweight. If he goes to cruiserweight, though, I doubt he'd come back. It's a massive weight difference, isn't it, from 175 to 200. But maybe he could do that. But that for me is the fight I want to see. Opatai versus Benavidez, not necessarily Ramirez. I want to see him fight Benavidez. I think Benavidez would carry the weight okay. He probably gets in the ring at 200 anyway. So, yeah, that's the fight I would love to see. But who knows, AI. But again, I wouldn't begrudge Zerdo if he takes that Jake Paul fight. I really wouldn't. Oops, sorry, Mr. Sir. He says, don't bring up Jake Paul at all. It's a joke. Yes, I agree. Nectar of the Guide says, a bloke I watched Jai fight with reckons someone must have had a huge bet on a stoppage in a certain round, and Jai stretched it out to well, I don't know. I don't want to get involved in all that talk, Nectar, but look, I just think from the first 30 seconds of that fight, Jai knew that this guy was so far overmatched it was not funny, and thought he's still got to be careful. I mean, at that level, everyone's dangerous, no matter how overmatched they might seem. But I just think Jai was probably given the instructions as well. Look, just go through, get the rounds, take your time, break him down, and when the time's right, get him out of there. There's probably no real benefit to go out there and try and blow him out in one round. I get that. So I think he just did the right thing. Or maybe someone he did know had the 5th round knockout. I don't know. I don't buy that. I think someone like Jai, that wouldn't really factor into his thinking. He'd just be taking his time. He landed that good right hook, which broke the jaw, and all over. Drew, if Opatai can't pin down Zerdo for a fight, is the best course of action to go after Badu Jack's belt in order to not only gain an extra belt, but to use it as a bargaining chip to fight Zerdo. Yeah, it is, Drew. The problem is, of course, is that Badu Jack's got the rematch. Is it August, September, something like that? I think it might be. Did someone say that before? Sorry if I missed that. Yeah, so, and if they do fight later in the year, then Badu Jack mightn't be ready until maybe mid next year, maybe. I don't know, but it's a long time to wait. It's a year's time for Jai. Look, they'll find somebody. At some stage, someone will step up. And if they don't, well, just go up to heavyweight. Do it now. I reckon they've got a course of action, though. I reckon the eventual path for Jai would definitely be to go to heavyweight. I just think the timeline would be all right, we want Zerto, then we want possibly Benavides, or if Benavides or someone wants to move up, or Bivol, then that, and if not, then we'll go to heavyweight. And if Badu Jack's maybe still there in the meantime, they could take him as well. But I've got the impression they've probably given Jai 12 to 18 months at cruiserweight, and then he'll go up. What is he, 30 now? I think he is, so can't be wasting too much time. All right, let's change the subject. Oscar Everingham. How are you, Oscar? Hitchens could stop Kambosos, in my opinion. Yeah, well, it is fight week. I didn't mention that at the start, did I? Yeah, the big fight this weekend, George Kambosos, Richardson, Hitchens. Look, it's going to be a tough ask, Oscar. I will say that. Style-wise, I'm worried. I'm worried about the fight. I just think Hitchens, with his height and his reach and his boxing skills, I just don't think it's very conclusive. Is it? Well, it's suitable. I'll throw that word out. It's suitable to fight George Kambosos. Compatible is the word I was looking for. I just think we saw how George struggled with a real good boxer in Devin Haney. Now, Hitchens doesn't run like Haney does, so maybe that's something that George could look at. But, yeah, his overall boxing skills do worry me, Oscar. And the fact that he does like to throw down every now and then, maybe he could stop George. I'm just hoping we see the George that I know it's 4 years ago that turned up against T.O. and he turns up motivated, raring to go. My prediction, I'll probably go more into it later in the week, but if I'm really going to talk about it now, I'd probably say that I can see George trying everything he possibly can to get to Hitchens, and Hitchens just boxing in from long range and just winning a clear-cut decision. But I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Who are on the cusp of that, well, the next wave of Aussie boxing, aren't we? I know they're all familiar faces, but we've got George on the cusp if he wins. We've already got Jai if Tim Tszyu gets over the line, and we'll have another one. And we've got Sam Goodman, who knows what's going to happen with the Maloneys, and Liam Paro's another one. So we're really, and Liam Wilson later in the year maybe as well. So we're on the cusp of that, as I said, that another wave of Aussie boxing success. And I really hope George can get the job done. But if I'm being honest, Oscar, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. All right, Andy, congratulations to Wardley all the same. Never out of a fight until you're actually out. Wonder who's next. Well, this is the interesting thing for Wardley, isn't it, Andy? Because you look at heavyweight, I mean, he's now the interim champion. I think they've ordered maybe the Pulev fight. I think that's the one he's going to have to fight next. Because when you think about it, Dubois, Usyk, Joshua, maybe Fury, Parker, they're all in their own little mini tournament at the moment. So I think it could be quite some time. It could even be up to a couple of years before Wardley is in the position to challenge for a title. I mean, there's other guys like Otoma out there is going to be putting his hand up soon. Joshua, I think, did I mention Joshua then? He's another one that's going to be putting the hand up. So, I think he's going to have to wait a couple of years, I reckon, Andy. But he's young enough, isn't he? Was he 20? No, he's actually, I think he's 30. So, it's not a good time to be in a position, I think, with someone like Wardley, because I just reckon there's too many fights in front of you. And when they only fight once or twice a year, it stretches it out even longer, doesn't it? OG, have you booked a ticket to Cairns yet, mate? No, sorry, OG. Doesn't look like I'm going to make it, mate. I'd love to get there, but the trip I'm going to, I'll leave on July the 8th to go to the States. So there's a bit going on with that, mate. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get to Cairns. I was actually... Well, I was really cut that I couldn't get up to the Gold Coast yesterday to see the fight, but in hindsight, I'm glad I couldn't get there because it wasn't exactly, one of the best weekends we've had by all reports. But I would have loved to have got to Cairns as well. But, mate, yeah, you got to have priorities. And, I'm going to get to the States to see Tim and the other two cards, the all-women's fight, Serrano and Katie Taylor, that card, and also Stevenson and Zapata. So I can't wait for that, but maybe next time, OG. Ali, Justice never complained even in the ring once. It was waved off. That is strange. He's been a fantastic, gracious sports person with his reaction to the fight, but weird he didn't complain at the time. Yeah, well, I've had enough to say about that, Ali. I'm with you, mate. I was very surprised that he wasn't a little bit more animated, but maybe, again, he knew that he was in a condition to continue and accepted it, or maybe he's just that type of guy who just rolls with the punches, excuse the pun, and just gets on with life. Who knows? OG, Justice looked rocked well and truly. Well, I couldn't really see his face, OG. You've obviously said another bit of footage that I haven't seen, because I really couldn't see his face when he got up. That angle of what was the referee looking at. So, I don't know. Again, he didn't protest, so maybe he wasn't in a good condition to continue. G'day, Pound for Pound King. How are you there, mate? Yes, Mr. Sir. Cruiserweight division, not where the talent lives. I'm with you there, mate. That is for sure. He's got Ramirez and possibly Badu Jack, and that's it. He timed Huni very well. It was a nice shot. It was a beautiful shot, pound for pound. Drew says the count was far too fast against Huni. That being said, his legs and body language looked far too damaged and wobbly to continue and get through an extra 1 minute and 20. I thought the stoppage was justified. Yeah, maybe it was, Drew. I know, again, we're all analysing it, and but maybe it's just going to take Justice to say, hey, look, yeah, I was rocked, and I was a little bit woozy and didn't really know where I was. Then no dramas. But so far, all we've had is the fact that it was a short count. So that's all we can go on. But that's look, as I always say, Drew, it's better to stop it too early than too late. So again, maybe the referee knew something we didn't. All right, Ali. Warren may be better doing a rematch with Justice. Wardley may actually have more damage facing the top level heavyweights. I don't see Wardley beating anyone at the top level. Could be more dollars with Huni. Yeah, but the problem is, Ali, I know it makes sense, and the good nature of Queensberry might be to say, we'll fight you again because that's the right thing to do. No, I think they'd be looking at it saying, well, I mean, you got to look at through their eyes of the people that are handling Wardley. I mean, they want to cash out on him as well. They've probably made a massive investment in him, and they want a return on the money. So they don't want to upset that by fighting Justice Huni again. They got out of jail yesterday, so they certainly don't want to have to do it again. They're going to want to put him in with the best heavyweights in the world. Now, I'm with you. I don't think he's beating any of those guys, but it's the business, and I'm sure Wardley and his team want to move on and fight one of those top guys for more money. So I think Justice, I think they said he got $1 million yesterday, which means Wardley probably would have got a couple of million. So he's on the right path, but I don't think they'll want the Justice Huni fight again, mate. I don't think it'll happen. Batman says the count was bad, but Huni looked done. Yep. Is Nikita going to fight Michael Zarafa next? Who knows, Carl? Well, that was the story. I saw the other day that they're looking at August for that fight, although Nikita still hasn't started punching with his arm, apparently, or his wrist. Look, that's the word. Now, someone, I think, sent me a message and said, they'd heard that Michael was part of his no limit contract that he would fight Tim, I think it was, not necessarily Nikita, Tim. Now, my return is that, well, you can't sign a contract or sign someone to a contract with a promise of fighting someone who hasn't agreed to it either. I mean, Tim has said he doesn't want to fight Michael or doesn't want to give him an opportunity. So you wouldn't thought that No Limit would put it in his contract that he will get this Tim Tszyu fight if Tim Tszyu's saying, no, mate, I'm not going to fight him. But Nikita's a different proposition. I think I sort of was of the opinion that it's not going to happen. Now I must admit, I think it's going to happen. I don't think Michael Zarafa's got any options whatsoever except fighting Nikita or to be a B-side to fight someone overseas. Now, if you're looking at the middleweight division, maybe he gets that world title shot against someone like a Janabek or someone like that. But no matter what it is, I can't see him getting a big... Well, unless it's Nikita in Australia, I can't see No Limit investing in a big opponent to bring to Australia. I think, if anything, Michael might have to go overseas, although Janabek did come to Australia with No Limit in the past, didn't he? But does he want to come back after the way he was treated last time by everyone? So, I don't know. But is he going to fight him? My suspicion is, Carl, that yes, at some stage later this year, that Nikita and Michael will fight. So, and if you're into the fight, that's cool. I must admit, I'm not that excited about the fight. But I'm sure all the Aussies will go crazy for it. All right, Batman. No doubt Wardley and his team won't take that fight again. Why would they? Very tough ask to get the win again in that one. Yes, I agree, Batman. Tommy says, Huni's 26, 11 pro fights in. Baby is a heavyweight. Been through some challenges. He's going to learn. His skill set is unbelievable for that weight. He will be fine. I agree, Tommy. 100%. Batman says, completely different to how I thought it would play in the first time. Yeah, look, I said all along that I thought Justice was a very, very good chance of beating Wardley. I didn't think he would be, well, he would perform the way he did and absolutely school Wardley for 9.5 rounds. But again, it means nothing, does it? Because he got to the 10th round and was knocked out. So it doesn't matter how well you fight for 9.5 rounds, does it? You got to do it for 12 rounds, and he couldn't. So, but again, I'll reiterate, there's no way Wardley goes back to that. I guarantee it. What's that? Zarafa, ha. His wife has definitely grounded him. I don't think he's married. Is he? I'm not sure. But he's still a floss. I don't think he's the same fighter since the Horn fights. Yeah, well, he keeps getting opportunities though, doesn't he, Mr. Sir? He look, judging, like, I must admit, after he was knocked out by Lara, and the way he was knocked out, I must admit I thought that was done. That's a credit. Not necessarily to Michael. I think it's a credit to his management and his promoters. I mean, Michael's obviously the one that has to get back in there, and good on him for doing that. But I've got to give all the credit to someone like No Limit and his management who have managed to reinvent him again. He's reinvented himself a few times, Michael Zarafa. Now, again, as I said once, that the way he was just brushed aside with ease by Lara with just an effortless second round knockout, I thought Michael was done. But here we are. He's talking about big fights coming up. Now, it could be Nikita. It could be someone else. As I said, it could be a Janabek. I don't think it's ever going to be Lara again. That's well and truly done. But who else is there? Adames? I don't think it would be Adames. Where is he ranked with them? He's not. He's not ranked with the WBC. So, just looking at the other ratings, he's ranked number 8 with the WBA. So that's out. And he's ranked number 11 with the WBO. Now, Alan Kalanouli, though, did have a voluntary in his last fight, so he would have to have a mandatory next, which would be Denzel Bentley. So you'd think that might rule that out next. So the only real fight you can probably look at and say with any certainty is that it's probably Nikita, but who knows? But again, they've done such a good job with Michael. His whole team have done such a great job just continually reinventing him, and he gets another crack. So good on him. They were tough fights, so against Horny, weren't they, Mr. Sir, against Jeff Horn? Very, very tough fights. I gave him $1. Sometimes I watch a fight back and look at specific things, and with Opetaya, if you watch his footwork, he's in and out when he wants. He constantly gets opponents in vulnerable positions. They call that IQ. I gave him $1. That's what they call it. He has got great boxing IQ that you don't even notice it when you're watching him. Till you go back like you did and watch carefully. And that's what he does. You'll get in range and you're slightly out of range and he's back in full range and then he's got you. So, very, very good fighter. Big J's brutal. Yeah, no, doesn't hold any punches and that's fine. Big J, not the full quid. Caesar, that's far behind, am I? I better catch up. All right, Ali, I think Huni may be sought by anyone with power in the top rung. Would be worried about Huni facing Otama. Yeah, I must admit I'd be the same, Ali. Huni is 26 and will still be learning. He also had a pec injury 10 days before the fight. Yeah, well, that wasn't really mentioned a lot either, was it? No, we haven't factored that in. It didn't really matter. I mean, I don't think we can even factor that in at all, Ali. I think brave guy to get in there with a pec injury, but that wasn't what got him knocked out. That was his carelessness. And I just fought so well for 9.5 rounds. I just feel for him. I really do. For all the hard work these guys put in and the sacrifice and everything they put in. And look, it could have been worse. It could have been the last round. It could have been the 12th round with 30 seconds to go. That would have been hard. So, and that might be another reason why he took it so well. He might have thought, well, it was only the 10th round. We still had 2 more rounds to go. So, but again, only he knows. His knockouts come from that. But that when he's moving in and out, this is Jai. But when he's moving in and out, he's always able to plant his feet and go bang. He's almost a perfect fighter. He's Jai Patai. Yeah, well, I can't wait to have that proven, mate. I mean, at the moment, he's looked sensational, but he has to do it against an in-form, a current elite fight. I know, again, Breeders, but he was 40. I know Jai's capable of it. I'm not doubting him for 1 second. I just want him to prove it to the world that maybe have some doubts. It was rumoured last week, Inouye changed his December opponent from Ball to Goodman/Picasso, challenging Ball early next year, but now Ball is fighting Goodman. Who will Inouye fight in December? Maybe Nakatani. Yeah, well, I got a feeling he mightn't even fight in December explicit. I mean, when he fights MJ, that'll be his third fight for the year. Now, that's in September, and to do another 3-month turnaround, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull him out too early in the year. Then maybe it's Nakatani. I know they're talking about Saudi cards or Japanese cards, whatever it might be in December. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on how hard the MJ fight is, if it's a really tough one for him, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull him out. If he blows him out of there in a couple of rounds, well, of course, going again in December. It could be Nakatani explicit. You don't know. I mean, if you take out, well, Ball and Goodman are now out of the occasion. Picasso, or the equation, I should say. Picasso's sort of had his chance, didn't want it, whatever. So he might be out of the running as well. So maybe Inouye's got no choice but to fight. Strange enough, Inouye's got lack of opponents because the only really good other two that were in his sort of sights were Goodman and Ball, and they're fighting each other. So who knows? It could be Nakatani explicit. We will see. Is Wardley versus Miller still doable? Thoughts? Yeah, it's definitely doable, Andy. Yeah, you would think maybe they might come back to that. Yep, it's definitely still in the possibilities. Jai wouldn't even beat that guy up in the street. He would just tell the guy to do himself a favour and walk away. That's a really good way of looking at it, Batman. I reckon you're right. If that was in the street, Jai'd say, hey, little man, okay, just save yourself and walk away, all right? Just peace. Go and walk away. And you'd see Sequoia was a little big man with the chest puffed out getting in Jai's face, and Jai just sort of laughing at him, couldn't you? That's what I picture in the street as well. Jai versus Zerto needs to happen soon. Jai all day. Yeah, I'm with you, Batman. Can we please all stop the talk for a potential Huni versus Wardley rematch? Despite being horrendously disappointed, a stoppage win gives Wardley absolutely no reason to go back to the danger zone. I agree 100% with you there, Drew. On IFL TV after the fight, Fabio said, hell, I was walking around the ring saying to everyone, what the F are we doing? How have we pulled this off? I think for all the hype, we saw his ceiling, yeah. Well, again, Double G, not good to see you in the chat as well, by the way, but I'm with you. I think I didn't hear him say that, but just the body language of him afterwards, it was just of relief. It wasn't of joy or excitement and like that. It was just pure relief. So I think that's 100% accurate what you're saying there. You would have been thinking, how the hell did I just pull that one out? Ali, Hearn will keep Justice. He's a world-class fighter at 26. I think Dave Allen would be a great fight next for him. Yeah, that would be good, actually, as a comeback fight. Justice will have a bigger career in the UK and Saudi. He'll be right, Ali. I'm with you. Yeah, I think if anything, Justice has shown everyone just how good a fighter he is. And I think there'll be some good opportunities for him. Batman says, I felt he was on the verge of stopping Wardley at the time. That's what I said too, Batman. I thought after the 9th round, I thought Justice is going to stop this guy. No doubt. In the 10th or 11th round, I thought he'd be stopping Wardley, who I thought had given up. But good on Wardley, who dug deep and got the job done. Yeah, Drew, someone stole the icing off Big J's cake tonight. Yeah, he's a little bit narky, wasn't he? He's just got to have that Snickers bar. All right, Mr. Sir. Huni right up there, done bloody well, all things being equal. If governed in Australia, arrest would have given him heaps of time. Given the fact he was in command for 99% of the fight, I do smell a rat. I don't know. Mr. Sir, I don't think there was anything like smelling a rat. I don't think there was anything untoward that the referee did. I just think it's no different to say if the same thing happened here in Australia, I 100% think that if Justice Huni was way behind on points and let one go in the 10th round and knocked Wardley out here in Australia and got up with the crowd going nuts and all the excitement going on and the drama and everything else, I think if it was an Australian referee, he would wave it off as well. Yep. Not to say it's right. I'm just saying I've got no doubt in the same circumstances, an Australian referee, I think, would have done the same thing the English referee did as well. I mean, it was pandemonium when Justice went down. I mean, the place went nuts. And the referee's trying to block out the crowd, and he's trying to make the right call, and he's figuring, what am I going to do here? Is he right? Is he not right? And he's trying to decipher a lot of things at the time. And I just think when he got up, it was like, hey, this fight's over. And maybe he overreacted. But as I said, I've got no doubt in the same situation here, the Aussie referee would have done the same thing. It's not to say they're corrupt or anything like that. They're only human. and the crowd's going crazy and everything's happening, it's easy just to get a bit overexcited and just call it off. But anyway, only the referee knows that. Dave Allen isn't ready for that Huni. That would be like Jai versus the Italian. Yeah, probably. I think he did say as a comeback fight though, Batman. So that's true. But Dave Allen, good comeback fight. Yep, that can be held in the UK. It also wouldn't cost Matchroom much to put on. No, I think you might see Justice having the majority of his fights in either England or Saudi Arabia now. I would think. I don't think you'll see him here much. Polly Farmer or the Farmer. I love Japanese boxing, the hidden gem in boxing. All the cards are bangers, and these little guys don't mess around. I'm with you there, Polly. I love watching the Japanese cards. I still haven't had a chance to watch the Nakatani Rashida fight yet. Rashida, whatever his name was, Ryoki Nishida. But I will. I'll try and get that done this week. Batman says, I can totally see it happening against Allen, but Dave would get a seriously bad beating put on him by Huni. But yes, I really wouldn't be surprised if it happens. All right, 2 broken jaws this weekend. Shame about the rest. Yep. Huni and Caballero kind of look like brothers. They do look familiar, don't they, Andy? All right, not sure what was the biggest disappointment this weekend. Huni's near upset on the world stage versus little Mario opponent of Jai. Huni's near upset on world stage, or little Mario. There's a good little Mario for Jai. It's a good one, mate. I would say the biggest disappointment, I would have to say it's the Jai opponent, if I've got to say. I mean, Huni's is disappointing, but, it's just shit happens for me. That's just one of those things that happens in boxing. But the disappointment of expecting a suitable challenger to Jai and to get that was really disappointing. It really was. So that would be my pick. Different types of disappointment, though, I will say. All right, Ali, what is the story with Teo and Devon? Teo called out Turkey, then apologised. Fight got announced with Devon, then he pulled out as he didn't sign the contract and got annoyed. Now other issues, strange. Yeah, well, I think by all accounts, Ali, is that the contract was sent to Teo, and while his team was actually overlooking it, it was announced. That, of course, got him, out of whack or offside. But geez, wouldn't you think for $11 million though, you swallow your pride and go, okay, I'm not happy with it, but it's not my job. They are the promoters; they can do what they want. But yeah, to actually pull out of the fight. Look, there's got to be a lot of things going on. I think no doubt that Teo is a loose cannon. That is a surety. That is 100%. But wouldn't you think you'd be disappointed with him leaking the fight early or whatever it might be, or you don't like the way Bill Haney talks to you, whatever. Mate, you're getting paid $11 million to get in there and fight. Newsflash, you are a fighter, a professional boxer. So check your ego and all the rest of it you've got. Get in there and fight. $11 million. I just think sometimes they just can't set the forest for the trees, some of these fighters. All right, Batman. Frank Warren was giving instructions to Wardley. I did see that. I'm thinking, what? And the announcers were saying that as well. Like, okay, yeah, Fabio Wardley's listening to Frank Warren giving him instructions, okay, from his ringside seat with 20,000 people screaming. To be fair, he's been in boxing for that long. Sure, he knows what he's looking at. He does, Batman, but that's why you have a corner. Look, no doubt, no different. Frank's no different to all the promoters and all the supporters out there. We all coach and barrack and yell and carry on. But, yeah, I don't think Wardley would have heard much of what he said, actually. I don't think that Frank would have said, wait for him to come in and, balk and then throw the big right hand. I don't think he would have said that. But anyway. Double G says, can't stand all this Huni is chinny talk. They say the same about AJ now, but I think he went pretty far. I'd like to see Huni versus Miller maybe. Yeah, I'm with you there, Double G. I agree. Yeah, Huni versus Miller, good fight. Yep. I think a good fight for Huni even could be someone like a Piccoli. I think he'd be custom made for Jai with his speed and footwork and volume of punches and everything. So I know he's dangerous. Piccoli, but even looking at the division at the moment, I wouldn't have any dramas. I know we went over a little bit before, but I wouldn't have any dramas putting him in with a Hergovic, a Zhang, a Jagby, Piccoli. I wouldn't have any Miller. I wouldn't have any problem putting him with any of those guys. So And now he's got a taste of really big-time heavyweight boxing. I think now you'll see Justice sort of feel part of it, and he'll get some of those bigger fights. So much talent on the Hitch Cam undercard now with Terramona added. Now, I must admit, did we go over this last time? Let me just have a quick look at the undercard. I did see that. I didn't mention that either, by the way, that, yeah, Terramona is on that undercard. All right, we'll have a quick look. So many at the moment out there, isn't there? All right, so the card. So you got Hitchens and Kambosos, obviously, for the IBF 140-pound title. That's right. Andy Cruz. Yep, Hironori Mishiro. That's an IBF eliminator, I think it was. It's Alexis Barreri, Ronnie Hines for the WBC Continental Heavyweight, Ernesto Mercado, Jonathan Montreux. That's a good card. Did I see one of the Vargases on there? Is that another card? No, yeah, no, it looks. Oh, Terramona's not on there by the looks of things, but he has been added. So, yeah, there you go. Yep, no, it should be a good card explicit. Can't wait to watch it on Sunday morning. I think it starts at 9 a.m. here in Australia. So, good. It's not 5 or 6 o'clock one. It's a 9 o'clock one. Richard, how are you, mate? I thought Fabio Wardley spoke well after the fight. He was very realistic on the outcome, but did say he knew he'd finish him anyway after the 7-count ending, but I guess what else is he going to say? Yeah, of course he's going to say that, Richard. I just think he was praying that Justice wouldn't get up. He'd be like, oh, I've jacked him. Now, please don't get up. Please don't get up. Now, look, he did have a minute and a half to go in the round, so the odds are, even if Huni was able to continue, that maybe it would have been lights out. So maybe it could have been a good thing that he wasn't actually knocked out. I think the argument is, though, is that he should have had the opportunity to at least prove he was okay. Andy, very disappointed in Keyshawn and Keon Davis. Or all right, be your brother fair and beat your brother fair and square. Very unprofessional. All this drama, BS, overrated. 100% with you there, Andy. Batman says Atoma also never had a senior bout without a head guard, but was unbeaten in international fights he had, which is very rare. Still, he wasn't fighting Jalalov, was he? No, he wasn't. No. The jury for me is still out on Atoma, Batman. I know he looks like a great young talent. Who knows? He might end up being a sensational fighter. But like all of them, I'm not going to judge him until I see him in a half-decent fight. No, it's not Derek Chisora. Dillian White will be a very, very good test for him. He'll tie him up. He'll use his experience. So I can see Otama probably winning the fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if White takes him the distance. Yeah, Jai Otama 2027 world title could be on the cards there, Batman. The Usyk Dubois on the card should be an interesting announcement. When's it getting announced? Explicit. Who I see Joseph Parker might be on that card. Well, they better announce it soon because there's only 5 weeks to go. So, who do you think Jai will fight next? He just can't land a massive fight yet because nobody wants to test him so far. I don't know, Richard. I think you might find he will fight another voluntary, I would say, because yesterday's fight counted as a mandatory because he was supposed to fight Shinkara, who was the mandatory, and because he pulled out, Sequoia counted as the mandatory. So he'll be able to choose anyone in the top 15. Then it's up to him, I suppose. But then after that, I would suspect it's going to be Ramirez. I think they'll be able to come to an agreement. Would be what a fight, Jai and Otama. Is that what you said? Was it Justice or Jai you said before? Was it for 2027? Oh, Jai. Sorry, I thought you meant Justice. Yeah. Geez, that'd be massive, wouldn't it? That fight. All right. Yeah, what a fight Jai versus Otama would be. Electric, edge of the seats from the first second. Has anyone popped at any time? I'm still backing our man, Ali. I think Jai gets the job done. I favour Inoue over anyone below 130, but Junto is to me the most dangerous opponent. But yes, I've still got Inoue stopping Junto, but 2 of my favourite active fighters. Yes, mate. Tio with the mental issues. Get out of jail free card to not take his biggest payday versus Devon. He needs to remember Boots doesn't owe him nothing. Only leverage Tio might have is WBO versus Norman and Sasaki. Yeah, maybe. I just think he's got bad advice, Andy. Yep, he gets bad advice, maybe from his dad. It's giving him that advice. I don't know, but whatever the advice is, it's wrong and he needs to get a different advisor. Inoue's athleticism and speed to get to the inside is like a superhero. He is, mate. He's lightning fast, isn't he? that lightning speed and power to go with it. Just a classic case of that lightning and thunder, isn't it? He's just something else. Agree with you on Otama. All this talk about him being this killer, but he hasn't been tested. If you remember, they used to talk about Picola the same way until all of a sudden he wasn't that killer. Yeah, exactly, Double G. Batman says, I'd pick Junto or Inoue to sleep. Bam. Easy. Okay. Yeah, Junto versus Nao is lit. Drew, it's a shame Lomachenko has retired. He was awesome and had a reasonably solid resume in a bit of a comet of a career. I can only imagine what he would have achieved if he didn't turn pro so late. Well, I think he still achieved so much though, didn't he, Drew? Just an unbelievable fighter. Just a once-in-a-lifetime, not generation, once-in-a-lifetime fighter. Batman, Bam got his jaw broke by the Mexican club fighter and didn't look good the fight after. I never rated Sonny Edwards, and Estrada, though, dropped Bam as good as he is. I feel those bigger guys are far too much. Yep, no, it's cool. Bam should go to 118 when Junto moves up. Yep. Great to see Sam Goodman fighting in Saudi. Yeah, great opportunity for him, Richard. Ryan, looks like the Dana/Turkey collaboration might be on hold. Too good to be true. We just need the best fighting, the best in the prime. Well, as far as I know, Ryan, it's all back on. There has been a couple of announcements in the last sort of 24 hours that Dana White is back, unless there's been something in the last few hours, but they've moved the UFC Noche to a non-pay-per-view event, so it'll just be on free-to-air TV, and all the emphasis will be on the boxing, and Dana will promote Crawford Canelo. Is still talking about doing it at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. I think above all else, it will be in Las Vegas. It won't be anywhere else. Maybe they could do it in Dallas. Big Mexican population down there as well. But I would say it's going to be Las Vegas. If it's not Allegiant, it'll be T-Mobile. Explicit, Top Rank and PBC new home will probably be CBS Sports Network with an announcement for PBC's first card in September, maybe with some cross-promotion. Yeah, well, they have been talking about working together Explicit, as has Golden Boy and PBC as well. So, yeah, maybe this whole promotional war might be about to end, and maybe they're all looking at the best interests of boxing / themselves, because they're the ones that make the money, of course. But maybe they realise just how much money is involved these days, where it's to the point of, guys, we've got to work together, because if we don't, we're the ones that are the fools just missing out on these big events. So let's hope it's the case there. Explicit. Goodman all the way, just scared of cuts. Ball's movement, speed, and athleticism will be too much guaranteed if he beats Sam. He beats Sam, just my opinion. Yeah, it's a tough ask for Sam. Yeah, Ball would be the favourite versus Goodman. I've seen Ball beat Ford. Goodman is in for a very difficult night. Ball, to me, probably the best active Brett. Going in, felt Wardley would stop him, but during the fight, it was a complete beating in favour of Huney. Everyone here feels Wardley was very lucky and will go nowhere near Huney again. Yeah, that seems to be the common thought, doesn't it? Do you think Tasman would ever put on a Jai versus Huney stadium show in Australia? Well, he said that the other day, Ali. Mick Francis I'm talking about. He actually said that is the aim, is to do Jai versus Justice in a massive stadium fight. He said it'll be bigger than Green Mundine. I don't think so. As far as significance on the world scene, yes. But as far as Australian interest goes, no, it won't ever come near Green Mundine. I doubt any fight ever will. Even Tim versus Michael Zarafa, not going to happen. Quite a few Brits knew Huney due to the Saudi cards, but most expected Wardley to be too powerful. But it was very fortunate for Wardley's count was quick also, yes. Speaking of the UK, there's Toby. Good morning from the UK. Lyndon in the chat. Yeah, welcome to the show, Toby. TalkSport in the UK thought Huney had a chance. Well, that's about it, a chance. Mutsy, hey mate, Jai is a beast. I reckon he'll pump Zerto. I'm with you there, mate. I think he beats Zerto conclusively. Odds was also close. Obviously, Huney was very live. Yep. Which is, I reckon all those people that backed Huney would have been rubbing their hands together after 9.5 rounds, wouldn't they? And all of a sudden, bang, gone. What's that? By the way, I'm pretty sure I've seen you on the TV a couple of times at Carlton games. You watch Carlton, do you, Tommy? Okay, you're a Blues man. Okay. No, I don't get too many games, mate. I only probably get to about 3 or 4 a year. So if you've seen me, it might be someone else. I do look like a lot of people out there, I suppose, with the beard and the dark hair and it. Well, not really dark anymore, is it? It's grey, but yeah, maybe. I didn't go on the last couple of weeks. Actually, when did I go? I went to the Giants game a couple of weeks ago, and swore I'd never go back for the rest of the year after that, Tommy. But yeah, last night they got the win, which is good. Ajay versus Badu Jack card on the Gold Coast will be great. International exposure, and the undercard would give Aussies exposure. Yeah, I'm with you, Ali. Where do you think Connor Wallace goes? He seems to be treading water. Any big fights he's targeting seems to go through the motions in his recent fights. Yeah, it's because he's doing exactly that, Ali. He's just going through the motions because there's no fights out there for him. The problem is, at light heavyweight, you've got obviously Beterbiev and Bivol, and then you've got David Benavides all in the mix. So Beterbiev and Bivol obviously fighting later this year. Then you would think the winner fights Benavides after that. That could be 6, 7, 8 months later. And unfortunately, he might have to wait until one of those titles become vacant. At the moment, they're all tied up. So, and maybe that's showing in his performance that he's just struggling to get up because he's not really fighting for anything. At the moment, he's ranked 2 with the IBF. He's not ranked with the WBA. Surprise, surprise. He's ranked 7 with the WBC. And he's ranked 7 with the WBO. So unfortunately, he's just going to have to wait his turn, Ali. But you can tell that he's struggling to keep motivated at the moment. But just like it's happened to Sam Goodman, anything can happen. Out of the blue, there might be a conflict with one of the sanctioning bodies. Let's say, I'm just picking one here. It might be the IBF have a problem with it, and they strip Dimitri Bivol. He fights Michael Effort. That's his name, Michael Effort, for the vacant title. That's how quickly it can turn. That's why they've got to keep him motivated. Batman, I do like that fight. Noakes is decent pressure at the UK Zoo, just playing, but does like to put his opponents on the ropes and work. Yeah, I still think Mason's a better fighter, though, and we'll take him to school, Batman. How good was the coverage last night? Actually having boxing people such as 2 times world champ Billy Dib instead of AFL and NRL boys. Yep. Also, Rob before the fight and Monique are boxing people make such a difference. Yeah, I thought the team was really good, Ali. I think, Rob did a really good job as sort of the host along with Monique, and Billy Dib has such great insight into the sport. Yeah, it was good. Dean Bray, Kana Blues on me March to September. Yeah, well, you're wishful thinking there, Dean, but you never know. Just like a couple of years ago, mate. Both Camille Bella and Lucas Brown fighting in Melbourne this week. Ibby Bella in Ballarat a couple of weeks later. Bella lads have so much talent. Hope they can make a last run at it. I'm doubtful, Tommy. I hope you're right where they make a run at it, but I mean, they'd both be what are they now? They'd have to be Camille would have to be mid-30s. Ibby maybe early 30s. Lucas Brown, how many times has he retired? I'm not so sure about that card. I did look at it a couple of weeks ago. Someone pointed it out. The Ballarat card seems okay, Tommy. I think Victor Nagby's on that one. So I can't remember ever having a fight night in Ballarat. I'm from Bendigo originally, which is sort of the sister city of Ballarat. Never seen a fight night in Ballarat. So I hope it is a success. Who is Camille Bella fighting? We'll have a quick look. I remember it wasn't, let's just say anyone of note. Ali. All right, so the fight night, he's fighting Adonis Caboquinto, who is 26-5. He's from the Philippines, coming off 2 knockout losses. His last loss was actually a knockout to Victor Nagby. And before that was knocked out by Roark Knapp. So coming off 2 knockouts, Ali. So I wouldn't be expecting too much there. David Padovan is the opponent for Lucas Brown. He's had 3 fights. And Ibby is not on that card. Tommy? Oh, sorry. Ballarat, wasn't it? Sorry. Actually, where is it? I'll go to that card. We'll have just a quick look at that one too. I'm not sure even who the promoter is. He's got his opponent is TBA for Victor, so his opponent's probably pulled out. Oh, Peter Maniatis. Good stuff. Peter's back promoting. So Ibby's fighting Van Hai Nijin, who's 7-3 for the IBF Australasian lightweight title. Okay. Yep. All right. Good on Ibby. Does it say how old he is there? 36. No, that's not him. That's his opponent. Sorry about that. Sorry. His opponent's 36. 34 is Ibby. There you go. So Camille, you would reckon to be a couple of years older. All right. Dean, Huni needs to plant the back foot when he goes forward instead of lunging. I've always thought that ever since the first time I saw him fight. He's still going to be a champion though. Yeah, no, he is. Very, very good fighter. Jai going to the USA to challenge in the ring. The last person that did that was Dubois against Usyk, where the broadcaster wanted him to throw the challenge down, but he struggled for his words. I remember that. I don't think it's necessarily Jai getting up in the ring to challenge him early, or maybe they'll do it. I don't know. I think it's more so to sit down with his team and try and get the fight locked in. Everyone in the UK is praising Justice for his display on Saturday night. He's got a lot more fans now, that's for sure. Massive respect for Justice and Team Hoodie. That's good to know. Anyone thinks Paul, this is Jake Paul, get in the ring with Zerto is delusional? I'm with you there, Batman. He'll talk it up though. He'll talk like he wants the fight, and then something will happen and it won't come off. All right, we'll go to. All right, I'll go back a little bit. I think I'm a little bit behind. Do you watch UFC as well? Nah, sorry, mate, not really. Nah, actually, when I say not really, I don't. No. Look, I fully respect the UFC fighters. I've got so much admiration for them. It's just not my thing, mate. It's just not my sport. Look, when Volkanovski fights, I'll watch the Aussies or Whittaker. But as a norm, mate, no, I just don't dig on it. I'm afraid. What do we got? Do you know right now Abdullah Mason versus Keyshawn will happen next? No, it won't happen next, mate. Keyshawn's going to go up and Mason will fight Sam Noakes. How does Jai versus Benavides go? I think, it's a tough one. Jai for me. Jai for me. Hitchens dominates him late. Hate to say it. That's against Kambosos. Yeah, you might be right there, mate. We'll see. Jai would hurt Benavides, in my opinion. I don't know where anyone gets the confidence from Benavides going the distance with Plant, Morel, etc. Imagine not Jai versus those men. Crazy stuff. Yeah, especially at that weight, Batman. 25 pounds heavier. I've got the money on our man too. Does anyone see Tim winning the second Fundora fight? I believe it will be his last world title fight. It's going to be a 50-50 fight, Robert. I certainly don't subscribe to the fact that this is just a given for Tim. No way. And I don't think he thinks that either, by the way. But I think I'm going to tip Tim to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fundora wins again, mate. So that Teo versus Haney is on Sportsbet. Yeah, not happening though. I do see Tim winning, says Batman, but it's a difficult fight, especially with the confidence Fundora has gained and looked decent in his last fight. I'm with you there, Batman. I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight and close fight. I think Tim can win until the cut in fight one he controlled and dominated. Only went 2 rounds, Ali. This is what I keep saying. He won the first 2 rounds, but look, if it had went 6, 7, 8 rounds, I would have said, okay, he dominated. But he probably controlled the first 2 rounds and to some extent dominated, but it was 2 rounds. 2 rounds. I don't take anything out of that first fight at all. All I could probably say is that saying the whole thing is that I think, judging by what I saw, even though Tim's going to be a lot better fighter, I just think Fundora is going to be as improved as well, and I think it'll be just as tough as a fight as the first one was, without the blood, hopefully. Yeah, Fundora is going to be a handful with a full prep. I agree. Tim was pinging his head around with ease early on. If Tim still has the same mindset and can come through difficult moments and feel superior, he can definitely win. Yep, slight favourite he is, yep. What's that, Tommy? Watching on YouTube, you're a very good skillful boxer. Thanks, many. If you don't mind me asking, was there many times you were hurt or rocked throughout your career? What I've seen, you seem very good. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate that, mate. Not very often. When I was 14 years of age is probably the most I've ever been rocked. 14. I fought a young Indigenous kid. Well, he wasn't young. I was 14. He was 16, maybe nearly 17, and very well defined. And he hit me on the button with a right hand, and I couldn't. That was about a minute into the second round, and I can't remember the rest of the fight after that. I was just fighting on instinct. I won the fight. I don't know how, because I don't remember it. And hit me right on the button. The knees buckled, I can't believe I didn't even get a count. Pretty tough back in those days, Tommy. But I got hit on the button, my knees buckled, and I held on for dear life. I got through and won on points. And about 3 weeks later, I remember he fought as a senior. He must have turned 17 and fought as a senior and fought some 25-year-old guy and hit him with the same punch and knocked him out cold. So I felt pretty good about that after that I was a 14-year-old kid and took it on the chin, literally, and the 25-year-old guy got knocked out cold. But apart from that, mate, not really. No, I reckon a couple of times in spars I've been slightly dazed. Actually, having said that, I did get knocked on my ass in one of the fights. I fought one of my good mates and Australian teammate, Richie Rolls. Fought him at the 93 Nationals and got hit with a right hand down the middle. For some stupid reason, I led with a hook and he went straight down the middle and put me on my ass. So that definitely rocked me. Did knock me out, though. I got up, no dramas, but I lost that fight. But, yeah, apart from that, a couple of times maybe slightly dazed, but I was very lucky, Tommy, that I didn't really get knocked out ever, which is good, which is hopefully why I've still got my faculties today. How good was the Sugar Neek signing with MVP? Very good, Ali. And on that women's card, yeah, and I'm really happy to be there to watch it. Someone else sent me, I think it was my old mate Jack Dilks, sent me that before it was announced. He must have seen it somewhere and said she was on the card, and I'm wrapped. I'm going to be there to see it. And as most of you know, I did promote Neeks her first 6 or 7 fights as well, so I'm really glad that she's got the opportunity in Madison Square Garden as well on an all-women super card. So I'm wrapped and I'm happy I'm going to be there to see it. So great for Aussie boxing. I can see Nikita Zarafa being a huge fighter in Australia, big build-up. Yeah, not as big, though, as what Tim would be, though, Batman. It'll still be big, but not as big as Tim would have been. But anyway, all right, I've got a couple more comments to get through. All right, I've lost my way there. Sorry, guys. Where am we? Oh, just pick a comment. So Rafa has reinvented himself more times than Madonna. 100% Double G. He certainly has. And I said it's a credit to him and his team. How the hell has he managed to be back in contention after what happened against Lara? And then with that win over, who was it? Was it Creati? He fought, was that before or after Lara? Whatever it was. And then the last guy he fought, who I don't know where they found him, and here he is knocking on the door of another title shot or a big fight with Nikita. It's amazing. What's that? First time I seen Jai, I just thought a bigger, far more vicious Bivol. Yeah. Footwork wise, offensively, Jai is obviously far more aggressive. Yeah, he is. Good on you, Dean. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Inouye's team has said he'll probably take December off, like you said. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised, mate. I saw Jai wearing that white suit with the bright coloured eagle on it, which echoes memories of Elvis. All he needs now is a 2001 Space Odyssey music on entry to his fights. Yeah, I did see that, mate. It was well, he thinks it's cool, and I'm the last one to talk about fashion sense, mate. That's why I wear black. That's all I wear is black, grey, and white. So and that's literally what I wear. I've got a cupboard with about 20 black T-shirts in it. I've got about 6 black hoodies. I've got a couple of black jumpers, and all the pants I have are all grey. And I've got about 5 white T-shirts as well. So that's it. That's my extent of fashion, mate. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. But good on Jai. He pulls it off. Picasso might be on the Manny card. Okay, that's cool. Everything all been tied up tonight, says Glenn. Canelo still sucks. He hasn't even been mentioned tonight, Glenn. You'd be disappointed. I've seen far worse stoppage than Huni. Anyone remember Brock's first fight with Matchroom? What fight was that, Tommy? Didn't he survive the knock? No, he didn't get knocked down, did he? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. The referee didn't call it off. If that's what you're alluding to. He was gone and the referee just wouldn't stop it. I thought the Huni wave off was okay. Okay, yep. In America, got hurt bad. Ref let it go. And when Brock had his opponent a bit hurt, the ref stopped it. Yes, Tommy. That's the way boxing works, mate. Boxing scene is amazing. Love going there. Can't wait to go back. I'd love to as well, mate. Yeah, I'm with you, Glenn. On the bucket list. Yep. Maybe we should do a tour over there for one of the fights. Yes, we've spoken about it, Glenn. Goodman and Ball. Yep, we spoke about that at length. Be a great trip. Reckon you get a beer at a fight night in Japan. I reckon you would, Tommy. You won't get one in Saudi, though. I said Ball beats him 100%. Yep. I watched the highlights of Tenshin Nasukawa fight earlier. Very entertaining. He's made the transition to boxing really easily. Yeah, I did see he won over the weekend too. I'll check that out. Mutsy, thanks, mate, for pointing that out. After the way Huni performed, Bakoli won't be going near him. Huni is way too fast for him. Bakoli, on the other hand, against Huni would be fascinating. Yeah, well, I think he'll get one of those fights, mate. I really do. Do you think Huni's corner could advise differently? I mean, surely explain, you're in front, box a move, watch for the bomb. Wardley was obviously gassed and waiting for the bomb opportunity. That's what I said earlier, Julian. I was surprised that his corner didn't have a bit more constructive advice. At no stage, I mean, again, it was only after the 9th round. Maybe it was a bit early to say to go defensive, because that might have allowed Wardley to maybe come forward a lot more, because I think Justice was having all the success because he was backing Wardley up, which is something that Wardley wouldn't have expected. Because at the start, when Wardley probably tried to do what he normally does and take centre ring, Justice was just countering him just time after time after time. And how many times did you see Wardley's head get snapped back with a counter? So in the end, he had no choice but to back up, which then just played into Justice's hands, which again probably highlights the point of why didn't he, maybe take it a bit more cautiously. I don't know. Only Justice knows that. I didn't realise it was mandatory for July yesterday. Yep, it was. Probably justified considering the BC he copped when he got stripped previously. Yeah. So because Shinkara was the mandatory and he pulled out and this guy took his spot, it did count as a mandatory. So I think Paul Munster's a good man. All right, guys, just a couple more comments there. What's that, Tommy? I can't believe that you were hurt that little time. Yeah, I was lucky, Tommy. I was lucky. Tommy, all the hate team aside, I think need to tip the hat to Zarafa. He sells fights hard, often to his own detriment. Those horn fights he put his heart into, as he says, love or hate him, you will watch. Yeah, exactly, Tommy. And I've had my own differences with Michael, some good and bad dealings with him. Promoted him a few times, or 3 times I think it was, but also he wasn't happy with some of the comments I've made on here before, and that's fine. I don't say anyone's got to be happy with it, but above all that, I do respect him for that, Tommy. That he's always put himself out there to fight the best, and like him or not, people are always tuned in to watch him. So no, I do take my hat off to him in that respect as well, mate. And I do love Zarafa personally. Okay, well, that's fine too. All right, last one. Ali agrees with Tommy. He sells fights. He's happy to be the bad guy. It probably makes both fighters more money too. And yes, as Tommy said, exactly right. All right, last comment there, Andy. If you haven't yet, please smash the like button, guys. Yes, we are at nearly at 2,200. I think we're getting pretty close. So, really, really thankful and appreciative of everyone out there that watches this live or on Spotify afterwards, and obviously the morning shows with Walking Boxing as well. Just one thing before I go, Wednesday night, we're back with the dream fights. We've got the heavyweights this time. So I've got 20 heavyweights and matched them against each other, all different eras, and what I think would be entertaining, evenly matched fights. So, they're not the best 20 heavyweights of all time, I'll just reiterate. There's just 20 or just 10 good fights, including 20 great, or not great, some of them are only average, but they're just good entertaining fights. I've matched them all up on Wednesday night, so tune in from 7 o'clock and give us your thoughts about who would win and why. And also make sure you subscribe to our up there Instagram, because the fights will be on tomorrow afternoon, so you can get on there and vote for who you think would win those particular fights. So guys, have a great week. Look forward to see you next Monday night on Talking Boxing. Catch you then.